What it is? How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about Final Destination's Bloodlines. That's right, the newest addition to the Final Destination franchise. We're going to talk about all the things. We're going to talk about all the deaths, all the bloody madness, and of course, all of Death's plans. Do they make sense? Do they not? Who knows? But there's only one way to find out. That's for you to sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and listen on in to the first ones to die.
Hello, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. My name is Jonathan, and I am here back once again with Alex and Jerome. Say what up for the people one time.
What's up? That's right.
Alrighty then.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Hold on, I did it wrong. It's, what
All right, Alex, now I'm going to need you to do that exact same thing.
I am not going to.
That's one of my favorite bits in Scary Movie. Like, what
Hey,
I remember that when
our
Pizza Hut used it, yeah.
A preview for our Scary Movie 6 review coming in about a year.
They got the Wayans brothers back. Thank God.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of scary movies, we have some business to attend to.
It's been a season of scary movies in the
has.
springtime.
Which makes me so happy. Like, you have no idea how much I'm, like, vibing with all these horror films coming out. Love it. Love it.
I appreciate, horror movies because it seems like for a lot of horror movies, they don't. I mean, this is the sad part about it too, is that they don't get a lot of promotion a lot of times. So, like the week before a movie comes out, it'll be like, "Oh, that movie's coming out," and it's like, "Oh, I had no idea about this. Oh, okay, it sounds interesting." And that's how you get some hidden gems.
Yeah.
Which
like
I
recently,
appreciate.
I saw Clowns in a Cornfield.
Clowns in the Cornfield.
It is a good movie when you're like doing introduction to horror, because like a lot of times horror nowadays is like really graphic or like really like let's shock the audience, but sometimes you need those like simple horror films to introduce people to like horror, like
Right.
teenagers and stuff like that to build their horror. Clowns in a Cornfield, fantastic, like a fun movie. Bunch of clowns in a cornfield. It's a very simple, straightforward film. Yeah.
You know what isn't so much a straightforward film? It requires a little, thought. And that is Sinners. Sinners, of course, starring Michael B. Jordan, directed and written by Ryan Coogler. Also in the cast, you have Haley Steinfeld, Miles Catton, Jack O'Connell, Wunmi Musaku, Jamie Lawson, Omar Miller, and Delroy Lindo.
Mm-hmm.
Sinners, it's set in 1932 Mississippi Delta. The film star. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Jerome. I know you got the IMDb up. Let's hear about Sinners.
I mean, well, on IMDb, it describes it as trying to leave their troubled lives behind. Twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back.
That's right.
You already went to the cast and characters and things, so yeah.
Yes.
But
now,
this movie has been out for a while, audience, so we are a bit late, but better late than never. So we're going to talk about this fantastic film from Ryan Coogler.
Yes, and we're not going to do a full-on in-depth review. If you listen to our other reviews, we're not going to do like a full in-depth review. We're going to get our most pressing thoughts that we want to get out.
So we're not going to hit spoilers. So if you haven't seen Sinners yet, because I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh man, I haven't caught it yet. And if you haven't watched it yet, don't worry. We're not going to spoil the movie for you. We're just going to hit the very generic tops. We may talk about the villains of the movie a little bit. That might be the only spoiler you really get. But past that, that's it.
My first question for you guys.
Yeah.
Is Ryan Coogler getting an Oscar for this movie?
Better.
Or is this movie getting an Oscar?
If it does, it's gonna get it for best original screenplay probably, and maybe best song. Past that, I don't. And mind you, this not because Ryan Coogler doesn't deserve it, or because any of the actors or anything don't deserve Oscars for this movie, but because of seeing stuff like what's happened to people like Spike Lee, what's happened to people like Jordan Peele or other black directors. Like, they'll make an amazing movie. Yeah. What I'm saying is they'll make an amazing movie and get all of like 2 Oscar nominations, and they'll be like, yeah, there you go. And it's like, I feel like they should have more. And then they'll be like, yeah, but Amelia Perez though.
It also might be because it came out in April, so I know a lot of movies that
a lot of movies get forgotten.
Get forgotten about.
But I hope it gets nominated for everything.
Yeah. That's another thing against it, horror films. But yeah. I think they're coming around a little bit more to horror films. Like we saw The Substance last year get a bunch of nominations.
But that's what I mean. Like it might get a bunch of nominations, but I don't know if it'll win them. Not because it doesn't deserve them, but because horror doesn't exactly get like the respect it deserves when it comes to like even great horror movies don't get the respect they deserve with the Academy, with stuff like this. But that being said, my hope is that a lot of the main cast gets nominated for best, actor, actress, supporting actor, supporting actress, and then Ryan Coogler gets nominated best director, and the screenplay gets nominated best original screenplay, and then song. I forget the main song in this movie, but I hope that gets nominated for best original song.
I kept thinking, I'm like, if Michael B. Jordan gets nominated, will he be nominated twice in one category because he plays
probably not.
No, because it's for the actor and not for the role.
Yeah,
nomination
exactly.
So
he'll probably just get one nomination. He can't get best actor and best supporting actor. All right, that's not how it works.
It was pretty amazing in the movie how they were able to make him a twin, because we were talking after the movie, Jerome and me, almost seamless most of the time. He was with himself, and even he handed himself something, and it actually looked like he, was like physically there, and it was actually really good.
Just to share a picture, like even just the way that he stood, they like it's him in the same scene. They look like 2 completely different characters, despite being the same actor, just based off body language. Facial they do got the same head costume. Yeah, to be fair, but I mean, for the most part, you can tell these are 2 different men in regards to personality and
in
like
their
the way
stand too. Like his one character, Smoke. Which one's Smoke?
Smoke is in the blue. So,
right, like, Smoke. There we go. It stood very tall and straight, and you can see it. And
Stack.
Thank you. It has a lean to him as well. When you were talking about body posture, it's that you have Smoke very confident, very like in the lead, and Stack has a Stack has a lean to him that makes it more playable. Yeah.
Slack. Yeah, Slack is the third brother we don't get to see there.
There we go. Yeah.
Do you think he got on the phone with Lindsay Lohan and she gave him some tips on playing a twin?
I mean, probably not.
I think she did, because that's what actors do. They see other characters similar to themselves, and they're like, "Let me do it. Let me call her."
I just don't see Michael B. Jordan and Lindsay Lohan being in the same room.
Yeah. Hey, we never said say broom. We said a phone call.
Right.
Maybe.
This is a side note, but I remember Lindsay Lohan in an interview said that Bob Iger, the president of Disney, or CEO or whatever, said that he didn't know until the premiere that Lindsay Lohan played 2 roles, and then when she talked to him about it, she was like, "Yeah, and that's why you should have paid me twice the amount of money."
She was smart. She knew. She's like, "Hey, wait a minute, I did double the work."
Exactly.
So there has actually been not surprising, but surprising, a lot of controversies around this film, which it's been amazing, but again, not a surprise because it is mostly a black film, black actors. There are a couple who aren't. There is Grace and Bo Chow. They are Chinese shopkeepers. They're a lovely couple with their daughter
Lisa,
thank you. Mm-hmm. And then there's also Mary, who is she's a quarter black.
Well, Mary is the most, yeah, she's white passing. She's the most interesting
She's
character in the
1/8.
movie for a lot of people
I thought
because she,
1/8.
yeah,
Yeah,
technically she would be declared
That
grandfather.
was like
1/8 because her grandfather is
oh,
black,
it's the grandfather.
but both her parents are white and her maternal grandmother is white, but her and
Wouldn't that
paternal
still be like a?
grandparents are white and white, like are both white
Wouldn't
as
that
well.
still be a quarter?
No, a quarter
Because
would
One
it's
be
called
one parent would be a quarter eighth. So I mean a quarter black.
no, because
So
the
that
one
means
one guy was the grandfather was black, so the mom was half black, which makes the daughter a quarter black.
but the dad is if the dad's fully white, that means
yeah,
the
by that
mom
Yeah,
definition, because
no,
the
but
grandparents
still,
on her dad's side are white and her dad is white, then by like that standard of that time, she is considered an eighth black.
so
I still
if
think
he
she's
listen okay, say
no.
okay.
I know what you guys are saying, but what I'm also saying, genetic wise, that would still be like 25%. It's not 1/8.
No, okay, so you got two grandparents on both parents' side. If one grandparent is fully black, that's eight grandparents. So one if one is black, that's 1/8. You know? If you have okay, you have
But yeah, but looking down, no, I get what you're saying with the grandparents, but you're looking down at the parents though. So you got one parent who's half black and white, and then you got a
no,
parent
one
who's
parent
full
is a
white.
quarter black.
No, she's half black because the
Oh yeah,
grandfather.
if okay, one parent is half black. Wait,
Yes.
if her grandparent no, if her grandfather was fully black, you have the grandfather, the grandmother, the grandfather, and the grandmother.
Which that's the question too, because apparently this is a thing. Haley Steinfeld's actual grandfather in real life is half black on her mom's side. He's Filipino and African American. And she said that one of the things that made her choose the role is because her parentage of Mary is the exact same. So I think that's the implication, is that her grandfather is not fully African American. He is also half black, half something else.
Wait, okay, you might be right, Alex.
I
But
know I'm right.
but did they say in the movie that the grandfather was fully
Yeah,
black?
She
yeah,
just said he's
it's
black, but during that time, that could mean anything. That could
but
mean he's
that's what
half
I'm saying.
black, full
There's
black. You're still
there's
considered
no
black. It doesn't matter.
back then there was a quarter rule. As long as you were a quarter, you were still considered black.
Right. So so
She's
even
a quarter.
if
But I know she's 1/8.
no, what I'm saying is look, it don't matter. The point is,
Wait, I feel like now we have to get to the bottom of this.
no,
Here,
we
let me-
don't.
Okay,
We have
okay,
another
okay.
review to do. We have-
All right, chill. Everybody relax. Point is, she is part black, and one of the issues and controversies around this movie was some people were upset that they didn't get somebody who was, mixed as well, who looked more black. They're like, oh, they chose somebody who just looks like a white girl, but that was the whole point. Back then, you had to like be
pretty
properly
much
white
be
passing.
white. Yeah.
Yeah, they could racism. Well, racism's really strong today, but like they would clock a black person a mile away in the southern region there in Mississippi. So the only way she could be white passing is to look like somebody like Haley
Well,
Steinfeld.
also because white passing during that time didn't just mean skin tone; it also meant facial features. Because, like, for example, because you could be white passing, but if you've got a wide nose, if you got certain types of lips, like they would still be like, nah, you got some nigger in you. Like they would still be like, you not fully white. Like they would still treat you like you're black anyway. And it's like, so that's like it's a mix of two things. And on top of that, when I found out that Haley Steinfeld's parentage is the exact same, I'm like, so technically she fits the role.
Yeah,
like,
she got
from
the
a
role.
genetic standpoint too. You might not like how white she is, but technically she does have some African American in her from a
And
direct line, like two parents
Yeah.
down.
And that's exactly what she was playing her character, and the controversy around that was stupid. There's also the controversy of it being vampires, and a lot of people were like, oh, I reject the energy from this movie. You actively went to a movie that was a horror film and then you're like surprised when it turned out to be monsters.
About
Like what?
monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, as you said in the
Like
last
demonic
podcast.
looking monsters. It's like they're
Yeah,
vampires. Like, did you not did you not know
which
about that?
spoiler, I guess, kind of. I don't want to ruin this for anybody. I really liked how they did the vampires. The facial features were really cool. The way the eyes glistened red when they were churned, but the main oh my god, I'm terrible at names, and I
Remick,
do apologize. Remick,
played by Jack
how
O'Connell.
his yeah, how his eyes gleamed red. So you knew he wasn't. It's almost like he just wasn't a vampire. He was like demonic vampire in a way. He was a high. There was it showed a hierarchy
Yeah, like in the
with his
original,
eyes
like a
being red.
vampire lord almost
Yeah,
versus like the familiars beneath
yeah,
him.
like born and then made type of thing. And I think it was really cool. And the way they sunk in the eyes or darkened it around made it almost look like there was their faces were turning into skulls, the vampires. And I thought that was really cool how they did that. Um,
Okay, breaking news. Okay, according to the internet, Marion Sinners is 12% African American. Her great grandfather is the one in question that was black, not grandfather. It was her great grandfather.
Interesting. In real, yeah, okay. But in real life, Haley Steinfeld's grandfather is black. But yes, okay. So in the movie, her great grandfather is the one who's black. Got it.
I also like Remick a lot.
He was great.
He was a very respectful vampire.
Well, what's the coolest thing? A lot of people have been mentioning this. Like one of the things that I think has been, and honestly has been missing from a lot of vampire media as of late, is the idea of of maintaining the balance between the monster that is the vampire in a literal sense, but also the monstrous part of them on how charismatic vampires can be. Because to survive as a vampire is different than like a werewolf or somebody like that. Like, yes, you are stronger than your prey, but werewolves look like creatures, like they look like monsters. The second you see this dog man creature walking up on you, you are running. Like, there is no question about that. Vampires, though, they're like, I need to get to the most personal part of your body, your neck, to feed. So I got to get in close. So I got to be as smooth and as charming as possible so that you don't even think the wiser, so I can get to that neck. And most people, they either make vampires so monstrous and creepy or like fast and deadly that they just forgo the charming part and just make them monsters where they just grab people and just snatch them up and whatever.
It's also that they make the vampires not necessarily even charismatic. They give them like mind control powers.
Or
like,
that too.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like a skip over.
Just mind control
just look
them.
in my eyes.
But Remick is definitely, like, I can tell Ryan Coogler took inspiration from stuff like, definitely like old school Bram Stoker's Dracula, or from, to a degree, from Dusk Till Dawn, of the vampires who, at first you're like, man, these guys are cool. I don't know what the big deal is. Like, I'd hang out. I see Selma Hayek out there looking fine as hell. You damn right I'm coming in. I'm coming in. If she invites me to the room, I'm going in. And then that'll be your last night. Enjoying freedom because you fitting to get 8. And it's like, but there's charisma there. Like Dracula pulls people in because they're like, oh, I mean, he's a little weird. He lives in this castle by himself and he talks weird, but overall he seems like a cool guy. We can hang out with Dracula. And then the night comes, and then you find out real quick why that was a bad decision.
Yeah, and Remick displays respect when talking to Stack and Smoke when he's trying to get entry. And somebody pointed this out, and I really didn't notice it, but then I was like, oh yeah, he made a point. The old white man who sold him the, what'd you call it, a barn?
It's a mill.
Property? A mill. Thank you. Mm-hmm. We're gonna have to deal with spoilers, okay? There's no way I can explain things without spoiling.
I feel like there's a way you could explain this without spoiling.
No, because the way he sells him the mill, the white man calls him boy. He calls the two black men, Stack and Smoke, boy. And it's shown throughout the film that a lot of the white people and Klansmen call, or just in history, call black men boys. as a way to demean them and belittle them and show, like hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Remick, when speaking to, I think it was Smoke, said when he's like, "Are you clan?" and he's like, "Sir," or showing a sign of respect and not using that demeaning turn of like, "Boy, like I'm above you." He's like, "Sir, equal ground." We're like, we don't do that." And it's so funny that Remick, the monster, is actually still like, "Look, I don't care that you're black. I'm all for equality. I just want to eat everybody." And he, goes for it. But he's respectful about it.
Well, I think that's the best thing about this movie more than anything else is its themes are very strong because there's a lot of themes about culture for sure, especially from a black standpoint, where you have in the case of the character of Sammy played by Miles Catton, there's a lot of talk about the music of black culture from the blues to gospel and like how it connects us. How there's a very beautiful scene that I won't spoil for you, audience, on what the actual details of the scene are, but there's a beautiful scene that illustrates visually the transfer of time in music within black culture and how the music from the time period we're in of the 1930s evolves into the music of even today and music of possibly even past today, maybe one day, to kind of fuse together, and how it all is still one and how it connects all of us, past, present, future, from our ancestry to current black people today. But also with the vampires, there's this discussion about essentially like culture vultures a little bit. This idea of like, oh well, there's unity amongst us because we're all gonna be vampires, but there's this level of, but still someone's gonna be in charge, and you say we're all one, but one under who is the one that defines the culture then? And like in this idea of assimilation as opposed to individuality. And there's this beautiful discussion in the movie of those themes and topics that's illustrated so well, and using vampires as the vehicle to talk about that type of stuff is like very interesting, because I didn't think about it until like watching the movie, being like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. Vampires are very invasion of the body snatchers type thing of just being like, you're one of us now. Like, I mean, you could try and live your normal life, but you're one of us. That's how this works once you get bit.
And one, if you haven't seen the movie already, first of all, you're missing out already. Everybody's been talking about it, so I don't know what you're waiting for. And two, if you're waiting for it to come on streaming, Netflix, HBO, whatever, whoever will release it on streaming.
I think it's HBO Max. This is a Warner Brothers movie, so I think that's where.
Oh,
and yes,
okay,
HBO Max
well.
now.
We're just gonna go past that because they're playing in our faces. I think they're just testing us to see like what we will take.
I've been calling it HBO Max regardless of since when it came out. It's just HBO. Yeah. It's been HBO Max to me the entire time.
But if you're waiting for it to come out on HBO Max, then you're missing out as well, because this movie needs to be experienced. It's made for IMAX. And that scene that Jerome was referencing is one of the examples of it. And you don't get that watching on your TV at home, or even worse on a laptop or tablet. So yeah, just get to the theater, shell out the however many bucks, and support. All right.
I think my only, and this is very small critique, but it's the one critique I had, the horror elements in the very beginning of the movie, because the movie is definitely trying to play this balance. Because if like the first half of the movie is very much just this crime 1930s movie, and then the back half is where like the supernatural stuff starts to happen. But in the very beginning, there's a lot of jump scare stuff with sound, especially, and I was like, it had me concerned, because I was like, I'm sorry, is this what Ryan Coogler's doing for his horror stuff? Is just gonna be jump scares? Because if so, I don't want that. Like, please don't. And it wasn't, but
I almost died laughing because there was one of those jump scares. A lady screamed in front of me so loud.
I mean, right, me and Alex both were like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, I got more scared by the sound than the image,
because it was blaring. Like, oh, God. Like, it was blaring sound, which, I mean, IMAX has always been really loud, but it's like this was on a whole level. Like, God damn, turn it down. Where's the sound mixing guy?
But I will say, I did like it though. I did like that they were scaring me with the sound more than anything, because like the amount of horror films I've watched are kind of like what's that word? not immune,
Like
but like
slasher.
no, like when you get used to something.
Oh, like yeah, you're used to it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
used
don't
to it. I
know.
guess it's just a simple. There's a word for it that like I really like the usage of sound in this movie. It was so powerful. Not just the
Yeah.
music, I guess it's the music, the way they use the guitar just to make these suspenseful sounds by not actually playing it. You can hear they were just kind of like not strumming the strings, but like rubbing against them or like scratching against them almost. It was really good, and it was just like it really got you intense and like, oh, I hate it, and it's making me tense up more.
I have to ask about this, Alex.
Hmm.
There was a guy on TikTok, and if you
Oh yeah, I
probably
wanted to talk about that, but go. Yes, go
were you
on.
gonna okay.
Oh, I'm ready for that.
Um, he kind of went viral, and there were a lot of people stitching his video, uh, kind of eating him up about because he made a video reviewing the movie. He was very positive about the movie, but his critique was that there wasn't any Latino representation, and he
Yeah.
compared it to a movie. He compared it to a movie. What was the movie?
Probably From Dusk Till Dawn, which
From
is
Dusk
Yeah.
Till Dawn. Yeah, he
the
compared it
like
to From Dusk Till Dawn.
Mexican representation of a vampire movie.
Mm-hmm. But he specifically called that a Latino movie. I haven't seen that movie, but
I mean,
apparently, like
It's
like
so it is
it
set in Mexico.
is heavily. I mean, Robert Rodriguez
No,
is the
okay,
director, so it's heavily influenced by a
no.
lot of Mexican
Here's
culture.
the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Sinners is a black movie. It is set in Mississippi in 1930. There is a Chinese couple there living with their daughter because that is historically accurate. There is a white passing woman, historically accurate. There's white people. And again, this is Mississippi in 1938. We weren't there. We were on the other side of the country. Latinos were over there.
In
Latinos
fact,
were not in a
to
small
piggyback off
town.
of that, there was somebody who did a historic, like another Latino woman who came out and was like, did a historic thing. She's like, historically, we had moved out of that area
Yeah.
just before that exact like year, 1932. Like a lot of the Latinos and Mexicans and everyone else in that community had left to go west during that
Yeah.
time.
We were already gone. And what pissed me off, and I see this in a lot of this narrative a lot when it comes to black films, and it's very upsetting to me, where there's Latinos who'll be like, oh, well, we didn't get any representation in that movie. It's a black film. It's about, black culture or black struggles or something to do not with us. And then they go on and be like, oh, we should be in there, we should be in this. No, no, we shouldn't. We don't always have a place in something, especially when it's talking about specific cultures or struggles. You know what we do have? Rosario came out this last month. It is a horror film. It is a Latino
I
woman
wanted
in
to see that
Mexico.
too.
It was fantastic. I watched it. I went and supported a film with Latinos with Mexicans in it, talking about Mexican culture, and it's a horror film. It's got brujeria. Actually, it's got something else, and I don't remember what it was because I don't privy to it. But there it was, and it was something for me to support, and it was something part of my culture, and it spoke about my culture.
Excuse me.
There
I don't
wasn't,
see the black people saying, "Hey, where were we at in that movie?"
yeah, and I didn't see any Mexicans or Latinos in the film with me. I saw some
Okay.
guy sleeping in the back. So why
So
the
you're
fuck
like,
are
where
you?
were y'all at?
Yeah. Why are you complaining about this movie not being in it? Well, we have our literal own movie, but you're not supporting it. You're not talking about it. I've seen nothing about it. We weren't there in Mississippi in 1938. We were west. Historically, geographically, that was as simple. Had you just thought about that, you wouldn't have everybody on your ass, the guy on TikTok. I won't
Well,
use
well,
names, but
And
like,
what I
Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I've
no,
talked
go
a
ahead.
lot, so go ahead, Jonathan.
I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
say what I've noticed from all of the dissertation about it and the people like educating this guy about that is that it was a collection of people. It wasn't just like black people saying, no, that's not right. It was like I saw Latino people in there. I
No,
saw
yeah,
some
there
Asian
were
people in there.
plenty
Yeah, no,
of
I'm-
Latino
I'm
people who
very
came to
proud.
be like, "Hey, he tripping."
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm very proud that I saw a lot of Latino people being like, "Hey, for one, this movie wasn't about us. Secondly, it was about the power. Well, it was about vampires, of course, but it also had the heavy tone about how powerful you know, Black Southern music is too. How much it has influenced, how it shows through the generations, future and past, how music in general is so powerful that other people want to take that power and use it for itself because it speaks of struggle, it speaks of heartache, it speaks of wanting acceptance, it speaks of, all these things that are so deeply personal. And when you have somebody who has such a powerful voice and is able to express it, so many people want to take that power in general. And so many people have. So many people have used, roots of gospel, blues, jazz, all that stuff, and use it in their own music and give no credit. Like Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Is always a great example. He knew that people didn't even know he was white sometimes when they finally saw him. They're like, oh, he's a white guy. I remember reading an article about that where they're like, whoa, he sang the songs, just like ours. But and it's just that it was about that and how Remick wanted to, because he wanted to turn people, yes, but he wanted specifically Sammy for that reason because his voice was so powerful because you could it opened up new worlds. He didn't just want everybody, he wanted him specifically. He came for him. And when people are like, well, we should have representation, it's like, no, we weren't supposed to be there. It wasn't even about us. There's a movie about us, about our culture, a horror film, exactly, with a Latino lead and everything like that, and Latino actors. Nobody's speaking about it. Nobody's talking about it. We should be the ones representing our own. And still, it's so sad to see just people critique about the stupidest things, like, and have the most passive aggressive nature about it. It's like, oh, what is that one article? Who that one new magazine franchise that talked about how well Sinners was doing at the box office, but then they underlined it with like, oh well, they still don't have enough to break even. You like nobody talks about that way when they're talking about like the first weekend of a movie. People are like, hey, it made this much. Isn't that fantastic? That guy threw in that stupid second sentence, just belittling the whole movie, even though
And,
people and critiques have been raving about it.
and he said like he said something along the lines of like Ryan Coogler, where are the Latinos in your movies when we literally just had Black Panther 2 with
Yeah.
Namor
Yeah.
Which,
being one of the main characters.
mind you, Namor, well, because it's like, because I think they pronounce it Namor in the movie, but Namor, as we've always called him in the comic book community, like, he's not Aztec. Like, that's an original idea. Ryan Coogler attached that to Namor and gave him much more culture and personality. In the comics, he's just basically a white dude in the ocean. That's it. All the Atlanteans are just white people, and if they're not white, they're blue. That's their color of choice. Well, because like in the comics, it's just because coloring and all those things. In the movie, I appreciate like he added so much character to Namor and the Atlantean identity. The idea that they turn blue when they come out the ocean because their body is lacking the oxygen, because they get the oxygen from the ocean, but when they're in the ocean, they have their natural skin tone. Beautiful. Like, that whole movie is beautiful with the ideas around the Aztec culture of Namor and his people. So it's like, he can do it. This just wasn't the time. And I saw someone compare this to now a more recent development of the Met Gala situation too, of the people from South Asia being upset that Tiana Taylor
really quick. Did you see that people were critiquing Billie Eilish's outfit?
And
she was like, I wasn't there. I was in Europe doing a tour. That's Photoshop. But
yeah, I did see that.
Being like, that's the ugly. She's like, I wasn't there. She's like, leave me alone. I was singing in a tour. Anybody could see. She's like, I got 20,000 witnesses.
Everyone wants to hate the pop girls right now. Chappell Roan's getting heat for no reason, for petty reasons. Doshi's getting heat for petty reasons. Everyone wants to go after the pop ladies right now, and I guess in Doshi's case, hip hop. But I don't understand it. I'm like, leave them alone. It's not. They have done nothing egregious enough to deserve this hate that y'all are trying to put on them.
That's almost like at work. This was like a couple years ago. we posted a picture of one of, I won't say who, but it's a celebrity during their, like, while they're getting measured for their wax figure, like they're sitting, and the comments were all like, that looks nothing like them. That is not, that does not look like them. Like, as if it was the wax figure. It was literally the person.
The
It was
person.
literally, it was literally the person.
No, listen, that's how it goes, though. I remember when I did the Milestone Initiative with DC Comics, they posted a picture on their social media, of course, to just be like, hey, so excited about the Milestone Initiative, because we took a group picture, all of us together. They were like, yeah, we took a picture. Like, we're so excited. There's the new official inaugural class of the first ever Milestone Initiative, whatever. 50% of the comments, oh, these people writing the new woke comics, they're trash. They need to be fired. And all like we like, who are these whack writers? And we're like, we have literally not only have we not written or drawn a single thing for DC Comics, we don't even work for DC Comics currently. Now, mind you, we did do a short story after that, but it's just the fact of, like, all they did was post a picture of people who have done nothing for this company at that time. And y'all did not read a single passage of the caption. You have no clue what the program is. But that's just the internet. You have people who just immediately hate on stuff just to hate on it because they have the anonymity of being behind a keyboard. And it's just like, it's sad.
Yeah.
But like you had people hating on, like, you know, the South Asian community, like some people, let me clarify, some people from the South Asian community getting on Teyana Taylor and I forget her name right now. Yeah, thank you for interviewing that South Asian director slash fashion
designer,
Shah Rukh Khan.
Yes, Shah Rukh Khan. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm tired, y'all. It's been a long
night.
We had something else we were doing earlier, so our brain's kind of fried. But Shah Rukh Khan interviewing him and not, essentially, I don't know what they wanted them to do.
Eat you up now, Jerome.
I guess like that's fine. Listen, it's fine. For you. Listen, I love my South Asian people. Y'all don't have to love me, but I love you, okay? And that's all that matters. But like, you know, you had some of the South Asian community coming for them, and a lot of people, especially South Asian people, had to come to our to the defense of both those ladies and also the Black community, and being like, this is a night to honor Black fashion, Black excellence, so on and so forth. Why are y'all acting like Shah Rukh Khan was supposed to get a bigger moment than he got at the Met Gala? Like, he's like, the night's about him. It's not about him. It's not even about our community. In fact, the fact that he's even there is the celebration in and of itself, because they didn't have to invite him. They could have chose not to. But and one South Asian creator in particular, she related the two events of what's happening with Sinners and what's happening with that situation, and by saying like by asking the question, why is it that we feel like when Black people in America want to do something for them, other minority communities want to latch on like the moment's supposed to be about us? It's about them, and we're going to get our chances to make our moments in our communities. And when those happen, we got to be there and we got to support. But notice Black people don't have nothing to say. So
that was my whole frustration with the thing. Yeah. I've seen it multiple times where I've seen other Latinos being like, well, we didn't get representation. I'm like, well, we had nothing to do with it. We were not involved in that story. There was no reason for us to be in it other than them like with the whole Snow White crap slipping in, what was her name?
Rachel Ziegler?
Ziegler? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, look, we put in somebody of slightly person of color, and it's like, okay. You put her in a character that's literally called Noah. I don't remember what she is.
I think she's definitely Latina, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was like, she's like half Latino or something.
Here, we need a.
She is
the first person we're gonna hire once we get the funds is a fact checker. We need one of those people who are like, we need everything we say.
We need somebody on the side typing constantly, being like, this person.
Because I know podcasts have that person a lot of times.
Definitely, have like a producer in the background, just giving the rundown.
Okay, her mother is of Colombian descent.
Okay,
her father is of Polish descent.
Okay, so yeah, Well, they when they stuck her in a character where it's like literally Snow White, that wasn't representation. They were just trying to be like, oh look what we did. No, no, that's
Listen,
bad.
it's the Snape thing all over again. Like,
I think it's the amount of TikToks I see where they're like talking about like Harry being like something's wrong with Snape. What? What do you mean? Why do you think there's something? He's sneaky, dude. That's not cool.
oh, so you had a conversation with him? You saw him do something sneaky? Well, no, but I mean, look at him. I'm sorry, look at him. No, not like that. Now shut up, Ron. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm not like that. Come on.
Yeah, and like I said, I see that a lot with Latinos, and then I'm like, we have our own stuff. Like we have programs. Like I said, I went to Rosario. I didn't see any advertising. I was looking through my AMC
I
app,
know.
and I
Now
found
that's
it. I was
okay.
Like, I'm gonna go.
To play devil's advocate, I will say I think where this frustration and anger does come from though is I think, and this is not so much a problem with minority groups. This is a problem with America in general in media. To play devil's advocate a little bit, is that when it comes to media, when they think of in thinking of representation, it's white or it's black, and a lot of times that's where it starts and ends. You know what I'm saying? Like for every Crazy Rich Asians, we get like 2 or 3 other black romantic comedies. For every Blue Beetle, we get a bunch of other black superheroes that get their own movie. Like it's very, so I will say to a degree, the Ryan Coogler treatment of where Ryan Coogler as this new hot director that is getting a lot of accolades, getting a lot of the business deals, the chances to do multiple Marvel movies. Like right now, Ironheart, the trailer just came out for that, and they are leaning hard as hell on Ryan Coogler's name as like Ryan Coogler, executive producer, because they really want to sell this show. Versus, I don't even know when Marvel, if they have ever hired a Latino director or an Asian director. Well, actually, no, they had an Asian director for Shang-Chi. They didn't give him the same treatment that they gave Ryan Coogler. Like, they have not hired him back to do a bunch of stuff. Hell, they haven't even done a Shang-Chi 2 yet. You know what I'm saying?
I know also, like, the black dollar is, and we're getting into a whole, like, sociological
I mean,
thing, but I know that
it's a discussion. Like, it's a real discussion.
Right,
yeah.
Right. But the black dollar is also a thing. It's proven that black people will show up and spend money. Whereas, like, I don't know because I don't know all the Latino movies that have been like the movies with Latino leads that have been released and everything. But like you said, Alex, at Rosario, you didn't see anybody that looked like you, or like Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle, didn't that like flop?
It did not do well. Yeah.
So it's like maybe either the studios need to put more funding into targeting the communities that they want to come and see this movie, or people need to show up and watch the movie so that they know, hey, this is something that we want to support, and this is something that like needs to be made more.
And I think that's the key to it, right? Is because like with Ryan Coogler, well, even before him, you know, you look at people like Spike Lee, Antoine Fuqua, F. Gary Gray, Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels. Like there like a lot of studios have put a lot of stock into black creators, or if not studios, at least given them a chance. Like with Jordan Peele, for example, right? Like Jordan Peele came out of nowhere from the comedy space of doing Key and Peele to now move into horror, and now he's one of the biggest things in the horror space. So it's like this thing of like studios giving these people chances to make the things they want to make, because like banking off of like, okay, well, we know the dollar will come back to us. Even though there's not a lot of Asian directors that get the same opportunities maybe in the American film market, Asian film has been big. Like Bong Joon-ho has been given a lot of opportunities a lot of international directors don't get from American money, because like off of things like Snowpiercer and Parasite. And he's not the only one. There's a lot of Asian directors that have been getting who get the chance to maybe do a lot more because of big stars like Michelle Yeoh and Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee back in the day, you know, so on and so forth. And while there's not a lot of Latino directors I can think of, or Latina directors I can think of, who are really getting the chance to make the stuff they want to make and do things they want to do. Because Robert Rodriguez is honestly like the guy. Yeah. Like he's the one that I think is the most mainstream.
Or Guillermo del Toro.
And Guillermo del Toro. Yeah. I was like just thought about him. Like those two are like the super mainstream Latino directors
Or
that
what's
just
the
come to mind
lady?
off the top of my
She
head.
directed Hustlers. I think she's Latino.
Uh, I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
her name off the top of my head, but
Let me look it up. Fact checker.
but but
Lorraine Scafaria.
yeah, but even then, it's like still like what's the
It's
last
like
movie
she's
she's
not in.
done since Hustlers
Yeah.
that's gotten the same mainstream stream
Oh,
appeal as Hustlers?
she directed some episodes of Succession,
No.
and she directed. She wrote Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
Oh, I love that movie. It's such a good
Oh,
movie.
that was a fun movie. That gum though.
But it's like so that's what I mean. It's like, to play devil's advocate a little bit, I can see where the frustration comes from, because the idea is like, or the thought, I'm sure the thought pattern is, we don't get the same mainstream level of representation unless somebody else from another minority community includes us in the conversation or includes us in the movie, right? Because only Ryan Coogler would have thought to make Namor, or someone like Ryan Coogler would have thought to make Namor part of Aztec culture. If a white director had done that movie, Namor is staying white. Like that's guaranteed. So I think that's where the, like, you know, to put myself in their mindset, I guess to say, I still don't agree with how they feel, but to like try and see it from their perspective, that is what I can imagine is where the frustration comes from. But the counteraction to that is
saying, but
putting,
yeah,
like,
as
sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I can see what you're saying, and I can understand that, but there is always a time and place to have that frustration. There are movies where definitely you could have slipped a Latino in there, or we could have been part of the story. But when it comes something as obvious as Sinners, where they even showed there was Native American people, indigenous people involved in this. They showed the different cultures at the beginning, discussing how vampires are in every culture, you know? So it totally, there are places where I believe the frustration is valid, where you could have simply had somebody play a Latino character, or had a Latino or Hispanic actually be the character who is Latino and Hispanic, instead of just another actor, and a white actor pretending to be. So, but when it's like movies, obviously like Sinners, which is portraying and discussing, you know, black culture, black music, it's asinine in the end. This is a movie definitely that was showing what it was about. And don't get me wrong, at least Mexican music, it definitely speaks to my heart. There is a lot of stories there that would tell. Like, one of the biggest ones is Selena, where we constantly talk about her music, but there's so much more. So much more to speak out when it comes to our music, how powerful it is, you know, um, just like Mexican music is also tied to a lot of indigenous stuff before Mexico and that area got colonized. There's still part of that music that is connected to its roots. And that's a beautiful story to have. But Sinners is definitely not our movie, or not our place to discuss it.
Yeah.
And
But
also,
on that note, there's shit like you mentioned, there, like, it doesn't matter what race of that the director is. It's like, it's not that hard to just include what the world looks like in your movie.
definitely.
Like the weird Tim Burton thing of, oh, they don't fit, people of color don't fit my aesthetic or whatever.
Which, what I never understood what that means, because you just make hollow people.
Like, well, like, because he likes that, like, pale, almost dead look, which is like his aesthetic fits black and white. That's like when he said that, I was like because he likes to, like, that's why he made Frankenweenie black and white. Like, he likes that. Or Corpse Bride is practically black and white. It's blue and white, but same difference. But it's like, that's his aesthetic. He loves that old school black and white looking film. And who wasn't in a lot of black and white films and looked like really good? Black people, or really any people of color, really. But like, because it was hard to see them. It was hard to light for them at that time. But at the same time, the thing is, it's like, well, you don't live in those times anymore. There are better filming techniques. And also, that shows your lack of creativity and lack of imagination. If you can't find a way to fit other people of color into your movies. Because it's not an impossibility, it's a choice. You are choosing not to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, I was looking up a list of some of the most famous and most mainstream Latin American directors, and I realized something that I also didn't think about, but is also true. A lot of the most famous and the most like successful directors who are Latin American, most of them, or Latino or Hispanic, or what, in those many communities, most of them also don't make mainstream film. They make art house film, or they make like Oscar level film. Like Guillermo, that's why Guillermo del Toro and Robert Rodriguez are the most famous. They make a lot of like popcorn, turn your brain off.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, blockbuster,
Yeah.
just watch a movie type films. Meanwhile, like, because like on the number one list, Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, beautiful filmmaker, amazing films. He's made his most famous ones being Birdman and The Revenant. If you're not a fan of film, you have not seen those movies, especially Birdman. Revenant, maybe, because you heard about that bear scene with Leonardo DiCaprio. But you probably have never seen Birdman if you're not a big film fan or a big or into those type of stories. Pablo Larraín, like most famous movies, Jackie, Neruda, Spencer, A Fantastic Woman. These are all movies. If you're not a film fan, you have not seen any of them. Jackie is the closest because it's about Jackie Kennedy. Like Patricia Cardoso wrote Real Women Have Curves in 2002. I haven't seen that movie. I've heard of it. I hear it's beautiful.
That's a
though.
big
It's a great
coming
movie.
of age film for a lot of Latino people.
Mm-hmm. Like, so it's like there's a lot of these directors. They're amazing directors, but unless you've watched and they're not the only ones. There's tons of Latino directors and Hispanic directors, Mexican directors, so on and so forth. But a lot of them do make some of the most beautiful films. Like, I think like there are a lot of Mexican directors make beautiful films, but a lot of them are just that. They're more for like people who really love film and really appreciate film, and they're not the most mainstream of movies. And so the average person is probably not watching them unless you've been introduced to them by somebody else or you go looking for them with intention, which is a shame because those films should be propped up too. They should get the same level of commercialism and the same level of like marketing to let people know, hey, check out these movies. They're great.
Definitely.
I love your encouragement, but we're going way off topic.
I'm just saying, yeah, that's
Back
my
to
last
Sinners.
point.
Oh,
on
yeah.
that.
No, I love the support, but like
We got to give grace for Sinners.
Let us know in the comments if you want us to do a deep dive of Latino film history. Then we'll make a video on that.
But grades for Sinners, real quick. We'll do this real fast because we already kind of gave our final thoughts on how we all like the film. So, Jonathan, we'll start with you. What's your grade for Sinners?
I'm giving it an A. I loved it. It was great. Watch it in IMAX. There are so many. I wish, and this is what I feel like I've heard other people say. I wish, and this is we've talked about all this, but I wish they wouldn't have revealed in the trailer that, like, they what the twist of them being vampires was, specifically Haley Steinfeld, because
for real, yeah.
because it's like that would have been so much more impactful if you would have not known that she would have been one of the people to turn. So that's my one critique, and that really doesn't have to do with the movie. It just has to do with the trailer editing company that they used. But this movie was amazing. It's definitely going to go down in film history. It is an historic film, and not just in the sense of the plot, but in the sense of what it has done for film in general. I think this is also hopeful in the sense that we can hopefully get more original stories from here on out. I know that's a tough hill to climb because we're in the world of reboots, remakes, and sequels, but Ryan Coogler, he's paving the way. So I'm giving this an A. That rhymed. Alex, what's your grade?
I'm definitely giving this an A. I really enjoyed it. As somebody who grew up in Chicago, blues and jazz music, well, mostly blues, are very close to my heart too. I grew up listening to it a lot more, especially in my teenage years. When I was in my feelings, blues was something of a comfort. So I think this beautiful movie was visually beautiful. The music was amazing, and the vampires were terrifying, especially when they started to dance. And I do enjoy the way they made the vampires, how scary they were and how charming Remick was, how easy it was to kind of give in to him. And it wasn't like mind mind control. It was simply just like, I like this guy. He's kind of funny. But also, you give off this weird energy, so I don't know. But yeah, definitely an A. And I like Jonathan said, seeing an IMAX is there's such powerful scenes in there that just you have to watch an IMAX. Jerome?
I'm also giving this just a solid A. It would be an A plus if not for those very, very, very minor things. But for the most part, fantastic movie. This is filmmaking at its best. I think what's great about this is that Ryan Coogler is showing his range. All right, at this point, this man has made a biopic. He has made a sports movie. He has made superhero films. He's made now a horror / action movie. This man can do anything. He's very versatile, very detail oriented. You know what I mean? Like there's so many smaller details that we can't really get into without going heavy into spoilers, but there's so many small details in this movie that help not only inform the time period, but also inform these characters and why they do the things they do, why they react the way they react. And there's like a lot of really touching moments amongst these characters, like the movie, because as crazy as the movie is, because there's some crazy stuff going on. This is easily the most sexual movie I've ever seen without a single stitch of nudity in it.
The scene with the spit, the bodily fluids, that
Always with the spit.
You're talking about that scene? There's more. But yeah, I know what you mean. There's a lot. There's a lot of sex. Listen, I'm telling you now, don't watch this movie with your parents, all right? Go with like your significant other or friends maybe or something. Like go with people you can maybe like have some separation with for a little bit if you're a little uncomfortable with like sexual stuff in movies. But still, great movie. Really fun. I can't wait to see what Ryan Coogler does next. A lot of people are thinking that this is going to lead to more movies or more or like a spin-off TV show or something like that. It could. I could see that. Me personally, I don't need it to. I think there's something great about when you can just make a great movie that just stands on its own as a great movie, singular by itself. And I think this is one of those movies that just stands great on its own without any extras, without any sequels to ruin it or to try and like turn it into something it's not. This is not a franchise builder. This is I don't feel like this is a franchise builder. I feel like this is a unique moment in time in film. And I
think they're making a sequel. One, with how much money it made, and two, with how it ended. I think they're definitely making a sequel.
But overall, solid movie. Give it an A.
And switching, I don't know if we're cutting or if we're just going straight into it. Oh.
We'll go straight into it. But speaking of reboots.
Oh. Speaking of sequels, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, this is kind of a reboot sequel, kind of. Because when was it? Anyway, go ahead.
It's technically a sequel. Technically, it is the sequel. It is the next movie in the franchise. I'm going to say it. It is Final Destination Bloodlines. We have it coming back, hopefully to wrap up the story or to complete the story about everything that happened.
It's a reboot / sequel.
It's not a prequel.
No, requel.
Requel? What the fuck is a requel?
It's a sequel to the original main line of movies, but it's also technically a reboot of the franchise trying to jumpstart back into the success. Because none of the stuff that happened in the first movie is like a major factor, or the first few movies is a major factor in this movie. It's almost like they're starting over, even though technically this is still in the timeline and technically still is a sequel. So that's what a requel is. It's a reboot that is also a sequel.
I get it, but so go ahead and somebody do the synopsis of.
I got you.
Have that pulled up. Is anybody prepared for that?
Oh, I had that one.
Yes,
I had that one.
I had it pulled up, but Jonathan, you can go.
Okay. Final Destination Bloodlines. Plagued by a recurring violent nightmare, a college student returns home to find that one person who can break the cycle, and save her family from the horrific fate that inevitably awaits them. This movie stars Caitlin Santajuana, Tio Briones, Rhea Kihlstedt, and many other people who you sure do not know their names. It is directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein.
Did you know this was something I learned recently? Final Destination, the franchise, has 10 books and 2 comic books based off of it.
I did not know that. I did not
How
know
do you make a comic of this?
Of
I feel like
literature.
the fun of it is seeing the stuff happen, like, as it happens.
I can see this as a comic. Like the graphic.
Yeah, the comic makes sense.
Well, that's true. The comic at least has like some visual element. The books is in particular where, like, I guess if you're reading it, you can like imagine in your head how it happens, like, you know, from a visual standpoint.
Yeah. I thought originally when it said books, because I looked it up on Wikipedia, I was talking about it with a coworker, that like, oh, it's like when they make the movie into a book and it's just really word by word. Like I have that with my Star Trek book, the movie. It's literally just scene from scene what's happening. But then I was like, oh no, there's 10 of them and there's only 5 movies. So there's 5 more books going on. This one, The Bloodlines, is not based off the books.
Okay, so here's the thing: the books are real, but I went to Google Shopping.
The books are real.
The covers look like, and it's like you've got these ones are definitely Final Destination, like Final Destination, The Horror Legacy, Final Destination 2, Final Destination Disaster, like all these stuff, and then you got this one, Final Destination, which is clearly just about pregnancy.
I don't think that's part of the franchise.
I don't think that's part of the franchise.
That's just the same. Why would they name it Final Destination though? I click on it.
You have to know. What is the synopsis of this book? Hold on. About this product. Jocelyn Rabin is just like any other 16-year-old girl in New York, outgoing, successful, and ready for college. Even so, she hides a terrible secret. When that secret forces itself into her life in a way that can't be hidden, her future and plans change in an instant. Jocelyn is forced to leave her home, and her stepfather, Carl, hides her in Florida, where she is given an apartment of her own and cash to spend. She manages to find a job and make friends. Through this, Jocelyn holds her secret tight, and she thinks about making her stepfather pay. After all, she's the one hiding the truth. She's the one with the power. Jocelyn is determined to make a good life for herself, despite her painful past. With the help of the church and a supportive group of friends, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Still, in the rearview mirror is Carl, waiting for her to spill his secret. The stepfather. While Jocelyn will Jocelyn finally escape her past, or will she spend the rest of her life looking over her shoulder? So I'm assuming the stepfather is the father of her child and abusing her. I would assume.
Yeah,
because he's the one hiding her. Why is it called Final Destination though?
That's a pregnancy test in her hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her terrible secret.
Okay.
And then she dies a violent death at the end of the book.
All right, I'm going to show you guys. I don't want to talk about it on the podcast, but there is a author on TikTok who's his books are like wild.
Wait, is that the kids' book? The children's books?
No. This is a grown man. These are adult books, and the books just like.
Oh no! It's the black guy, right? That you're talking about. And the title of the book is like, my ghetto ass, baby mama. And her like that like the titles of the books are like that, right?
Right. And there used to be like one where it's like basically he fell in love with his girlfriend's neighbor's grandmother. But lately he's been getting more unhinged, and maybe I believe it's the same guy because it's even the same like artwork cover where he's talking about like MPreg, which is, if anybody doesn't know, that it's male pregnancy. And like, I just gotta show you guys. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the same guy, different guy, but they use the same artist. But this man is wild. I almost want to buy one of the books to be like if it's real or not. Like, hold a physical copy and be like, this. Did he AI write this? Like, or is this something like he was just like, fuck it, people will buy this because it's insane.
I see some of the videos of, we're off topic again, but I see some of
Yeah.
the videos of the kids books, but they're like they look like kids books, like they're picture books, but you get a few pages in and you realize they are not kids books. They're either like very violent or very inappropriate.
Oh, I
And
think
there's a
I've
lady
seen that.
who just goes on TikTok and like reads them.
Oh, I saw that. There was one about basically gay sex. About this is what you should do. This is what you should do. And it was actually very informative. So I'm like, not bad, but also I don't like that it's in the style of a child's book. Makes me uncomfy. But back to the Bloodline.
Back to Final Destination.
Looking at the novels, though, the novels sound interesting. There's a few fun, like, tidbits. There's one book in particular that was, it was only available for a short period of time before it being recalled, leaving, like, due to a printing error, it was recalled, and only a few copies are left in circulation because I don't think they put out more. So it's almost like a rare book. And then the comic books. The first book was Sacrifice, which was only sold in a limited edition DVD version of Final Destination 3, sold exclusively at Circuit City stores. So it is the rarest of the rare.
Yeah, I remember reading that with
Circuit
a coworker.
City.
I was like,
I
that
have
is
not heard that
dating
name
me.
in years. Circuit City.
And now, granted, you can access it though because later they printed a trade paperback, including the 5-issue miniseries Final Destination Spring Break, which was like put on shelves as just a comic, and that same comic from Final Destination 3 also in that same trade paperback. So that's kind of cool.
What were you guys' first thoughts on? And we could just go into audience, y'all. We're going. You know, we're going.
We'll give like very quick general thoughts because there's not much general to do
knock
with this one.
Knock it off. We'll just do.
Listen, I'm just saying. Some
Yeah,
people
we'll
don't
talk
want to be
about the whole
spoiled.
thing.
Go. We're all tired. We're gonna get through this.
We'll talk about the whole thing.
I like this movie.
I
There you
first want to know your guys' thoughts on what did you think about the Seattle lore, the knockoff Space Needle,
The
Skyview.
The Skyview.
It's like this would happen. What if the World's Fair actually happened like this?
That was actually one of my greatest fears going up. I never go up into like high places because I'm like, it's not that I like I'm scared of heights, but like they make me nervous. Like I'm fine going up. I don't have that like moment where I start panicking. But I'm like, humans should not be this high. We're not meant to be this high up. I don't like that they put on the Space Needle, the glass floor now, because again, one of my biggest fears is like the glass floor breaking.
Yeah,
it's always been a big fear of mine, and just like that movie helped that. I was like, okay.
Well, this movie illustrates the point that a lot of people that I stand by to this day, which is that when people are like, yeah, people are observant, I'm like, no, they're not. Because you ever notice that majority of your life, you almost never look up and you almost never look down. Which are two very important vantage points in your worldview when you're doing anything. And the fact that the glass was cracking for a long ass time. They had time to get off the dance floor, and Death was like, "Oh, so y'all just ain't gonna move, huh? All right." I guess y'all finna die today.
I feel like I look down, but then again, I like trip a lot, so I'm like, I have to look down to see where my feet are going because I don't always have control of them. They're all dancing. Wouldn't you look down at some point, make sure you're not stepping on somebody or getting too close to somebody?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like should be more aware when they were dancing or something. Clearly, they were not.
Also,
nobody was aware of anything.
That little boy, first of all, I want to know whose parents let their child just run off and be basically the devil for 24 hours, because maybe they just dropped him off. They're like, look, we can't take this no goddamn more. Drop his ass off. Leave him at the Skyview. Who's going to know? Just leave. Leave.
The black boy?
The Satan boy. No, the one throwing the damn penny and stuff.
Because I was about to say, oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, him. He was,
because he had no parents accompanying him. He was just by himself.
No, he had a parent when they were going up the elevator.
And they gladly were just like, all right, why don't you go over there and play? All right, quick, Martha, let's go to the elevator right now. He's not going to know.
Back then, you released your children. Just like, go. Come back whenever you come back. Yeah, more people were so excited when he got hit with that piano.
I
The
know.
amount of
And
people that were like,
normally
yeah, in the
in these
film
type
was
of
like
movies, like
that.
they're like, we don't want none of the kids to die, but this is the first
I
one people were
know.
like, yes, yeah.
My theater, they clapped. They clapped when he got smushed.
I was happy. Go Brat.
Did we? What did you think at first? Did you think that that sequence was completely real until we found out that it was just a dream?
No, because it's Final Destination. We know how this goes already by this point. Like the first initial disaster that didn't happen because somebody had a premonition that said. Now I did like
No,
the twist though that it was somebody else's premonition, but our main character, it wasn't their premonition. That was interesting.
Wait, Jonathan, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you meant like that it wasn't actually a premonition, like it wasn't the changing of event like they do with the Final Destinations at the beginning, but that it was actually a dream instead. Like it wasn't the event occurring at that moment, but it was like a dream. So it was something else in the future going on. Is that what you meant?
No, but
Okay.
take it
Okay.
however
I was
you
like, is
however you
that
want.
what like you meant that it was like okay, it wasn't the premonition and then her saving everybody. It was the premonition, her dream. Speaking of the person who was dreaming, what was the her name in the movie?
It's
Uh,
it's it's not Sam.
uh,
Stephanie. Stephanie's the character's name.
Stephanie.
Caitlin Santa Wana is, I think, at least that's how I
I
think you
still have
pronounce
to
her
look it
last
up.
name.
That's fine.
She
yeah.
plays the character, but Stephanie is the character's name. Stephanie Reyes.
I and I understand how mean this sounds. I am aware. I do my best not to be mean, but I can't help myself. The
Is
way
this about the
she
mean
like
about the
was
character or the actors?
the character, the way she
Okay, then
portrayed
that's
her,
fine. That's
and
that's
the rest
fine.
of the way she had her facial expressions the entire
Okay,
film.
that's the actress then, because the actress
Fine,
is the
that's
one
the actress.
playing the character.
Well, no, it was
That's an actor choice.
the way. Fine, the actress's choice of
Which is
trying
fine.
of,
It's
like
it's fair. I
Yeah, listen,
criticize
choices.
actors
We
too.
could judge
It was-
choices. This
it
is
was-
nothing about her, the person. It's just a
Right.
choice.
well, it's her as a person making this choice. The way
Yeah,
she kept
but,
her
like,
eyes
from
open
an
the entire
artistic
time.
standpoint.
Oh my god. Moving
She wa-
on.
I- sorry,
The way
Alex.
she
Go
kept
ahead. Go
her
ahead.
eyes wide for so long, and like she was like, like all the time, and it's like I understand people are dying around you, but like pull it back.
Sometimes not
She-
even
Pull
when
it back
she's
quicker.
just
She had-
explaining the stuff. She's just
she
like, the
she
whole
had a
time.
little bit of the syndrome with the main actress in Clowns in a Cornfield for me as well, where it's like you're taking this main character thing a little too seriously. Like I'm gonna need you to be human a little bit for once in the movie, so that way I can
Yeah.
sympathize with you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just like, calm down, girl. If you die, you die. So I can see that, Alex.
Yeah, and I understand she was trying. Her attempt was to present somebody who is manic because she has not slept properly. She's starting to learn all this stuff. She's just saw a grandmother she's never met get stabbed through the eye. Like, so I get the manic energy she was going for, and then when she's trying to explain to everybody, she's like, "You have to look at the signs. You had to look at the signs. Look at my conspiracy wall." Like, how is anybody gonna believe you? Why would anybody believe you? I think you need a Xanax. That's what I thought. I wouldn't believe you either. Um, so like that was a little off, but I really liked the way everybody else portrayed their characters. I mean, the rest of her portrayal was great. I think she did good, and I think the way she tried to take control of the situation was very like matriarch style. Like it was her time to shine and her time to be like the one being like, "I'll protect people." Of course, nobody ever listens. Um, also,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say I could have done though without the because all the actors do a great job. I could have done without the storyline of the mom abandoning the kids, and then by extension, them feeling like Stephanie abandoned them to go to college. Only because I'm like, because it gets resolved so fast. Like literally, for a large part of the movie, she's taking digs at her mom. Like, I mean, it must have been nice, not being a mom and all. And then all she says is, well, I was kind of fucked up and I had a lot of trauma going on, and I didn't want to put that trauma on you guys. And but now I'm here, and that's literally it. From that point on, they're cool. Like that's the end of that conflict. Hell, the
Well, I
conflict
mean,
between her brother and him being like, "You're not around, Stephanie." That doesn't even they don't even have a discussion to resolve that. That just fizzles out, and they're just cool.
Yeah.
So
Or
it's
between
just a
her
thing.
or between her and the cousins.
Yeah.
And
So
the
it's a
like that
thing where I'm
well,
like,
they
all of a
all
sudden
died before she could resolve that with
but what I
the with
mean
the
is that
girl
it's like
cousin.
before that, they're already like, most of them are like, okay, Steph, what's going on? Let's work together. Like, they're over it. And I'm like, okay, it's almost as if you didn't really need that. Like, it doesn't really add much to the movie or the story, really. It kind of is just an extra element to just add drama in between scenes that we don't really need because the situation they're currently in is already plenty dramatic.
But I can see why they did it. It just shows that like with death following them, there's also this sense of abandonment going through generation to generation. And even though you're like, I'm gonna be different, you're still kind of the same. And then when it's almost like the madness passes down, but from through the women. And they're the ones who see it the most because the mom left because she's like, I started thinking like my mom. I started yelling at you because I kept saying, all the ways you could die, and I just wanted to seal you away. And shows that how abuse transfers. And then she's like, well, I'm an abuser. Instead of correcting it and getting help or something like that, she just takes off. And before, damn it, my brain. Before,
here you're basically saying like the title Bloodlines.
yeah,
Like this is something that is passed down from the top
yeah,
Generational
it
to
shows
her.
like the
Yeah.
abandonment, the abuse, the seeing everything that the way you could die is something that. So I could see what they're doing. You're right. They kind of did abandon that plot and was forgiven, but also there was really no time to argue when death is following you. And after that one idiot brother killed his other brother, your time is now short and you don't have time to argue or talk about abandonment. Like, we all have to live now because it's just the three of them. By the way, did you like that twist at the beginning where God damn it. Hold on. What is it?
Richard
JB.
Harmon, who plays Eric.
No,
Campbell.
JB is the what's his name?
Tony
Charlie?
Todd.
Eric.
Where he's not the brother. He's not the
Yeah.
or he's not the biological, or he's a half brother.
He's
I'm
a
about to say
half brother.
yeah, because you said JB, I'm like, that's a different character.
No,
but
that's JB. I was like, the names were right. No, where Eric is actually, because they were like, oh, Eric's like, which, by the way, Eric was the one who was supposed to have died in the fire at the
yeah, in the
tattoo place.
marketing, they really leaned on him being dead, which is why I was like, oh man, they spoiled his death. And then you watch the movie, it's like, actually, no.
He died a different way.
Yeah.
Which was
That
my
was-
favorite death.
That was a cool that fire scene was cool too, because I'm like, oh, he's done for. But then they did that multiple times in the movie where you think somebody's gonna die, but they don't. And they also did this and they also do the thing a lot where they close up on like the beer can or the thing, and it's like, okay, how is this gonna work? In my mind, I'm like, this might as well be called Rube Goldberg the movie, because essentially the whole movie is a Rube Goldberg machine.
Wait, but they're like, okay, how many Final Destination movies have you seen?
Well, I'm saying that's just my observation. That's just my observation in that, like, it's
because they've like I will agree with you though. They this is the best it's been in a while. Because I remember Final Destination 3 was some bullshit. with their like setups of the like, hey, this might be a thing.
It wasn't even premonitions; those were just stupid photos.
Because when was the last? It's been a minute since the last one, right?
Final Destination 5 was, I think, like in the 2010s. I think.
Yeah, I think it was like 2013.
So it feels like 2011.
Oh,
so it's been 14
I was gonna say
years,
2012, but I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Well, I mean, that's had to make its way through everybody.
Because before that, they would release one every like 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and honestly,
now
this is the best it's been as far as the setup and then the like follow up. Because Final Destination 3, half the deaths just happen. They don't even really get set up. They just happen, just to happen. Final Destination 4, they wanted to really lean on the 3D aspect. So then they just did these like CG scenes with like vague items and being like, look at this and this.
Like,
woo!
The NASCAR, because the main event happens with like a NASCAR event or a racing event, and like constantly there was like multiple tires just flying at you, or the
Yeah.
structure of big rocks falling at you, car things. And it was like, just like calm down a little bit, calm down, stop
And then
throwing things at me.
Final Destination 5 was pretty decent. I think Final Destination 5 is still the best story out of all of them, including this one. But it's like that one is when they were trying to go back to basics, and they're like, let's get back to just the regular setup. Because like though granted, my favorite is Final Destination 2, but that's just because it has my favorite cast, like especially T.C. Carson. Love him in that movie. But Final Destination 5, if looking at it objectively for me, has the best told story. And I think this one does a great job of continuing the idea of it. Well, hey, at least the kills, we're going to set those bad boys up real nice. We're going to give you like a lot of fake outs, but then a lot of setup where it's like this piece of glass goes in the ice. Then from the ice, it then falls onto the ground. And then she moves the rake from underneath the trampoline. And then it's like, oh, okay, got it.
I think at this point, Death was just having fun. He's like, I'm down to my last like 6 people. Let me stretch out my creative legs, because like it was so much. Death was doing so much. I mean, Death does a lot during the other films, but like, do you think Death has OCD going down the line like that?
No, I think Death is petty.
Because
all right, he's like,
no, but it's
I
a little
take my
OCD.
time.
I'm gonna kill this person, then they're like, I have to do it in this order. I can't do it any other order. If somebody dies before I get to them, then it messes everything up, and I have to restart over. And it's like, if you skip, I have to keep going down. It's like, calm down.
Now he's
Which,
got
and as we
wait for the
know,
perfect moment.
And as we know, and probably expected at the beginning of the movie, the whole family does die by the end of the movie. So, which would mean, in the order of things, that JB is next.
Yes.
Do we think that the next movie is going to follow him trying to evade death?
No, because
probably not. Because
well, okay. Wait. No, because in the movie alone, he had cancer. He was going to die very soon. It was a very aggressive cancer. He walked away knowing that they would not survive. He was like, I'm enjoying just my time that I have left, which is basically telling you, you're all going to die, but I'm going to go to like a beach and die happy. So like, JB was very aware that his time had come and he didn't want to fight anymore. That's why he wasn't going to stay in the morgue. He's like, I've been here when people need answers. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm gonna enjoy the less time I have left. However, it's a little ironic that occurred, as the actor himself,
Tony Todd.
Tony Todd,
he passed away.
Yeah,
last year.
Oh, he was who they dedicated the
Candyman
movie to at the end.
He was Candyman too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Wow.
Candyman.
So
I feel like Alex right now.
Yeah.
I think the chances of him being in the next movie are going to be fairly slim.
You know what they did to Paul Walker.
No, Paul Walker's different. Because we don't see him, we just hear that he's around.
No, they did it to him in the
final
movie.
in the
okay, but that's because they filmed 50% of the movie with him already in it. They couldn't not film the rest, so they used his brother. That's the only reason they did that.
Could have simply just killed off his character and done it respectfully.
That's not. I don't know. I don't think they could have. Not the way that story was played out.
I saw something online, and there was a moment where they're like, what movie did Fast and the Furious stop being based in reality? Because there's a scene in, I think, the third Fast and the Furious where they go from a building to a building in their little,
That's
cars.
7.
No, it's one of the earlier ones. Because that's what it's so practical.
Like building to building.
Yeah, it's a red car. It goes from one building to another. Like, they zoom through which I don't even know how they got up there. Actually, I don't remember that. That's earlier. And then we have one where Dawn apparently punches the ground. It's the one with
That's 6.
That's 6. And then the one with the space car.
That's 8.
Yeah. So it starts being based in reality.
8 or 9. That's 9.
I think it's the fourth one where these two, small muscle cars are pulling a giant.
That's 5.
Is that 5?
Yep.
God damn. They really stopped like basing reality a long time ago. Because
I
those
would-
bumpers had to be like heavily reinforced.
I would say 2 is when they stopped being realistic, because 2 is when just they do some crazy stuff. Like the driving backwards thing alone is just like, that's not how that would work. You would have easily driven off the road. And first of all, you can't even go that fast backwards. Cars don't let you go that fast backwards. Like there's a lot. Listen, the fact of the matter is they've never been based in reality. Even the first one, that's not how Nas works. And then the damn computer in the car when Brian's driving and it's like manifold failure. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? That's not how that works. And why is the car sparking if that piece that you're talking about is in the engine? Why is the bottom of your car falling out? Like in the passenger seat. That doesn't make sense.
Y'all know this movie was apparently supposed to be released on HBO Max.
What, Final Destination Bloodlines?
Yeah, but that was before they filmed it. Like they announced that it was going to be.
I mean, maybe
released
they
on
didn't
HBO
have
Max.
faith in Final Destination. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Final Destination 5 did well when it came out, but not as well as they probably hoped it would, which is why it took so long for them to make this one.
But
Yeah.
now with the nostalgia and like just people, and the like, it's the perfect time to release a sequel / reboot requel. And it's made $102 million so far on a $50 million budget and in its first weekend, which is super impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think people want, and honestly what I want, is like one original content. Like just give me a new story. Like there are plenty of writers, screenwriters. There's people out there with great stories, either from their culture, from their mind, whatever. It's there. But also, if you're going to give me something that it has, that's connected to a world, universe, or it's a prequel, sequel, make it fun. Just let me have some fun, because a lot of times I'll see these like sequels or prequels or reboots and stuff, and they try to make it so deep.
Mm-hmm.
But the franchise itself is so stupid. It's like, how are you going to try to make it deep? Oh, you need to No. Final Destination, I think, did really well because they understood. In general, they are a campy kind of film. They are ridiculous. The deaths are always ridiculous. The commentary that death is following you in such a manner is ridiculous, because if death wants to get you, it's going to get you. And that's even what they say. And just, they had fun with it, so you're allowed to have fun with it. There's no deeper meaning other than like, oh, family has to stick together, which, by the way, they completely abandoned their dad.
Yeah, they never talk
He's
about
like-
or the mom, the aunt. They never.
Yeah.
they
Because
never,
they're
go back to
safe.
it.
They're like, look, man,
Well, no.
screw you.
But like-
We got to figure out how to survive right now.
But
Y'all
here's
are
the thing,
all
the
right.
dad just went for a walk. The dad's like, I'm going to go for a walk. And
Yeah,
they're like,
and-
okay. And then they just run away. All of them.
Leave without him.
And they were like, right, and they were like, oh, Dad's gonna be pissed. But we'll tell him we're just we went for a ride to kill time, and they never like go back to it. They're never like, oh, I wonder what Dad's thinking. Then they never go back to it.
Because screw Dad right now. We are in the middle of a damn crisis, all right? Death is out here playing games. And he's not playing fair. He's playing for keeps. Because Eric wasn't on the list. But the second Eric was trying to help, Death was like, oh, okay. I got something for your ass.
You never
But
Like,
I would have
yeah.
appreciated like a moment of closure because he was the one, even when he saw that everything that Stephanie was saying was right, he was still like, don't play into this. Oh, she's tripping. Blah. He didn't say that, but like,
Yeah.
it was basically
But you might as well have,
right.
Yeah.
And we never got to see that moment where he's like, oh, okay, so it is true.
Well, listen,
Like,
we did come back to him. He brought homeboy to prom, to meet his date and stuff. So he's still around. I mean, he probably died from the train crash that crashed through that whole damn neighborhood.
That was
Because
like done
again,
with them.
Death is petty. He's like, I do not care. Like I told Alex, he's probably like, I do not care how many people I have to kill, as long as you two are one of them. I will make sure
It's
the
always
rest I can
interesting.
count for. I can add them to the ledger. That's fine. It was their time anyway. I'm gonna murder an entire building's worth of people if it means that you two die today. I am tired of this. I have been doing cleanup since the damn 60s. I'm
50s.
tired.
50s.
50s. It's been a long time.
It's always funny how death is like, I'm gonna put you through the most traumatic experience of your life, then let you think you're safe for like a few months, and then I'm gonna kill
Sometimes
you in the
years.
most and then I'm gonna kill you in the most dramatic way because all of them died ever since the third one. There was a train going off the tracks. There was getting hit by a truck going through a coffee shop. There was the plane crash. There was this where the whole entire log truck came after them. It's like
Heck, even in Final Destination 1, like Alex, the main character from that one, we find out in 2 he got killed with like a brick.
yeah.
Do you think the them getting killed by the logs on the train? Do you think that was a nod to the
Yeah.
truck?
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Did
that's
you
the
see
most
the
iconic
marketing?
thing of the franchise is
Yeah,
the
did you
Yeah,
log.
see the
they were
marketing
putting
for it? They put a truck with a whole bunch of logs and like the posters for the movies on the side of it.
Have you seen the TikTok of someone driving behind a log truck and the logs are falling up, but they're falling on the side. They're not falling straight, but they're falling on the side. And they're holding as the video. They're like, "It's happening! Oh my God, it's happening!"
Yeah, they're like, our fears were justified. It's good. We knew it. We knew it would happen.
Someone took that video and stitched it with a video of like millennials, and it's the scene from Brooklyn Nine-Nine with Captain Holt like vindication. Because every millennial remembers Final Destination 2 coming out and being like, from this point forward, I will never drive behind a log truck ever. It's not happening.
I also like I saw this article
I found it.
that came. I saw this article that came out.
Like,
That's like,
I knew I sent it.
It's like Final Destination, Bloodlines. It's something along the lines of it continues to make people afraid of everyday objects or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, it's particularly when the glass falls in the container of ice. I never thought about the fact that I could have
you would not be able to
shard
tell.
of glass in but also I'm like, I don't think it would kill me because, knock on wood, because I don't chug my drinks like that where I drink up all the ice and chew on it. I don't do that. So
I do that though. So for me, it's a legit concern.
Why are you drinking like a duck? Don't do that.
No, I like to drink and like sometimes like get some ice and I'll chew on the ice or suck on the ice too sometimes. And so I would definitely at the very least cut the roof of my mouth, cut my tongue, something's getting cut. I'm spitting up blood basically.
Because the whole family in this, they had no straws. All of them were drinking the water, the drink, whatever, exact same way.
That's why I'm on straw patrol right now. Enough is enough.
Same.
Is it the influence of the movie?
Maybe not. I don't know. But regardless, I'm drinking from straws now. From this point forward, the second I go to Burger King and they're like, "Here's your drink, sir." Oh, you ain't hand me no straw. You're trying to kill me. You think I don't know what's going on? I'm reporting y'all.
My biggest one was the MRI machine because I actually work in a hospital and I think about that all the time because I have like texts come up to me like, "Oh, you got to remove everything." When I got my back from my MRI, she's like, "Did you remove everything? Do you have anything?" And I'm like, "No,
And
you even have my glasses. I can't see."
And you said that was your favorite death, Alex?
Yeah, that was my favorite death.
Wheelchair,
and like the one I'm kind of like, the one I kind of fear because I'm like, I'm by those machines. I'm not like by those machines, but they're close enough to me where I'm like, I'm looking at you now.
Your stapler would have went flying.
First of all, I feel like this movie will make you scared of piercings. That's for damn sure.
Oh, when they pulled him basically by the dick.
Yeah.
The nipple, and then when you saw it, and you're like, yeah.
The MRI death, that actually happened to a man like a few years ago. I don't know if they got inspiration from that, but he was I remember reading about it like fairly recently or something. He, like, his brother or someone he was related to was in the hospital, and he was going, I think possibly with the wheelchair and an oxygen tank, and he was assured by hospital staff that the machine was not on, but apparently it was, and he got like knocked in the head by the oxygen tank into the MRI machine, and that's how he died. So I don't know if this movie was inspired by that, but
Well, they're literally giant magnets. That I don't know if you guys have ever
Yeah.
had one, but they're terrifying because it's you go. They like it's so tight in there, you can't move. You're like this, and they're like, "All right, just try to be still." As it sounds like there's a hammer above you, like somebody's trying to break in, and you have to just you can't move an inch. You can't like flinch. You just have to be like, and it takes like an hour sometimes. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? And I
And
couldn't have my
they're
glasses.
claustrophobic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of people who
That's
have
pretty cool.
claustrophobia have a hard time in MRI machines for that exact reason. But I will like here's the thing too. That cuz this is one of my critiques of this movie. The CG in this movie is
Oh, you thought
great
it was bad?
most of the time. Most of the
is it
time it's
though?
fine. But there's a lot of scenes where you could like when the blood was on her face from her grandmother getting shot with the shot through the head, I was like, "Oh my god, that looks so bad." And then
A lot
the
of the blood did look the same. Like it did. Like
mhm,
when
It
somebody
was
got
the
like
same.
crushed or something, it looked like the same effect. It didn't
the
look like
trash
different.
can or not the trash can, the trash truck death. Also, I'm like, she looks like a silly putty person when it starts squishing her body. I was like, this don't look great. Y'all didn't finish this.
That
Yeah,
might
that
have been
was a.
my that
Go
might
ahead.
have been my favorite one, just because the girl was annoying and it was kind of a cool like.
I mean, it was unique. I've never seen that before, and I like that she was like halfway out, halfway in. So it's like, oh man, that's even worse.
It almost made it seem like they were going back to the original rules, like death skipped Eric, so it was going on to her that she was next. But I don't think they ever addressed that one. They never talked about that. They're just like, look, either you got to die and come back, or you have to kill somebody and take their time. But there was no like, hey, death skipped you, so now it's her.
No, Death skipped
But
Well,
Eric
it
because
did go in the order.
no, it
he wasn't
didn't.
part of the bloodline at that
That's
time.
that's what I'm saying. They didn't touch that fact. It almost made it look like they were gonna go through with it. That Eric
Oh, like
escaped, so
Oh,
it was a sister. Yeah,
I see.
that's how they set it up. But then they never addressed it, and it was just Eric was what was it? The William.
her quote was like, "Oh, death one it what did she say? She was like, basically, it was one of those throwaway lines where she's like, "Oh, sometimes death doesn't care who it'll
Yeah,
take to get in
I
the way,"
think
or something like that. That's
Well,
how it
yeah,
explained
so yeah,
how
if
why
when you
Eric
fuck with
died.
death, it gets messy. Is
Yeah,
what you're
there
yeah.
you go.
saying.
There you go.
Which is
Um,
why
Eric.
which is why Eric gets lumped in, even though he's still not part of the bloodline. Death is like, you're trying to stop my plans. Not on my watch. I've worked too damn hard.
Yeah, he was the son of. I love that way they did that. He's like William Bloodworth, and then he's like, is that why he always wanted to play catch with me?
Oh no, he's the son of just some random dude, like not even a part of
William
the
Bloodworth.
story.
Yeah.
No, he's not his son. No, like he's like that. The guy they mentioned is just some random guy who's not even in the movie. No, Bloodworth doesn't have any kids. He's a singular
Oh,
person.
no, it
He's the
was a
son of the
name.
singer, is what they're talking about. But the person, like, that's why it was such a funny
No,
joke,
no,
because it's like,
no.
who is he talking about? Like, who are they talking about?
The way he said his name was hilarious, though. I know it was a random guy, but like the name was so funny because it was just like, oh, it was like Finkelberg or something.
Yeah, something like that. And it
Yeah,
was
where it
just
was
like,
like,
he's like,
Dinkelberg.
that way you always wanted to play catch.
yeah,
It's just-
that was like one of my favorite lines. He was like, so he's like, is that why? Like pausing
I
and
was
like,
I was kind of sad when Bobby died. He kind of
He's
For
so
real,
he kind
because
of
innocent.
endeared.
he was so sweet. He's just a nice dude, a little aloof, but such a nice guy. Like,
And then he
poor
had the
dude.
whole allergic reaction to the peanut butter.
Well, especially
I
because he saved himself too. He almost was free. He actually got the EpiPen. He put it in. He started breathing, and then Death was like, "Gotcha!" Just threw it through the vending machine thing in his head. I was like, "God, man."
I thought at first when he didn't have the reaction to the peanut butter cups, I was like, "Oh, that's because it's processed peanut butter. It ain't no real peanut butter. That's
Not
why."
the real deal.
But
Actually, I knew a girl who had that where she was allergic to hazelnut, but she could eat Nutella. That's how
oh,
processed it was. Yeah, how processed and how much sugar it was. She could eat Nutella, but you get her near a hazelnut, and she started getting a rash, and we're like, oh. She's like, yeah, if I eat it, I'll go into shock. But when she touched it, she got a rash. One time she did, and we were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" She's like, "What?" I'm like, "That has eggs on it. Put it down." Bro got into a rash, and then we had to deal with that. I like that he chose the peanut butter cups. He's like, "I've never had peanut butter in my life." He's like, "I don't want to
If I'm
go."
going to die, at the very least.
Yeah, I'm not
Right.
doing it. Unsalted peanuts. I want that, which like totally fair.
Mm-hmm.
I respect it. I like, so here's my question for you guys. Do you think that, like, because the whole thing is death comes for or she's getting this premonition because of her grandmother, but technically if death was going in order and the grandmother knows that, couldn't she just stay there? Stephanie was
Stay
just
where?
getting the nightmares, but the second she died, the grandmother Iris died, that's when then death was like, all right, now I'm coming for the rest of the family. If she had stayed there,
Stay
he,
where?
like,
Where the grandmother? The
yeah,
grandmother's house?
no, I'm talking about
No.
Iris. If Iris had just stayed in her
No, here's
cabin,
the
oh
thing.
right, she had cancer.
She had cancer.
That's
She had
right.
very
That's
aggressive
right.
cancer.
She was going to die anyway.
She was,
That's right.
death could. So she had to convince her beforehand, and she's like, the only way to convince you is by seeing. So she's like, all right, find out. So
That's right.
because she was about to
I
leave
remember.
without the book and all the information, so she was gonna die either alone by cancer, or which JB was like helping her get the best treatment they could get, but like, yeah, Death was like, all right, fine, we'll go natural causes way.
I will say that was really sweet. Like, I think this movie does a great job sending off Tony Todd. Like, just because, like, I think they do, like, I think that's beautiful because they did the same thing in Top Gun Maverick as well. Because Val Kilmer passed away from throat cancer, but he had already had that diagnosis when they did Top Gun Maverick. So when he's in that movie, they just made that a part of his character, where his character of Iceman also has throat cancer, so that, you know, they didn't have to hide it, or they didn't have to like do something to work around it or whatever. Like, they're like, no, that's just a part of your character, and we can pay respects to your condition. We can just like kind of just like, you know, if you need anything, or if there's something that'll just make you more comfortable in playing the role, we can just implement that in, because now that's a part of your character. And with Tony Todd, like, I don't remember if he specifically had cancer or if it was something.
It said
else
he
medically.
did pass away from cancer.
Okay, so that, like, implementing that into his character, because it's a very visual difference, like between Tony Todd in Final Destination 5 and Tony Todd in this movie. Like, you can clearly tell he looks different. He's a lot smaller. He's a lot skinnier. But like, and even his voice isn't as deep. Like, it's a lot weaker.
He had stomach cancer.
Yeah, but he's great. He does the role very well. I did. Me and Alex were talking after he saw the movie, and I was like, I do think it's kind of messed up that everybody else he's talked to in the Final Destination series, he's always creepy and and like mysterious, and he's just like almost to the point where the theory for the longest time for those who are Final Destination fans was that he was death.
He was dead.
Like, embodied as a person, and he's like giving, like, he's giving them tips, but only because he's like, it's not going to matter. I'm good. Like, so every time he was like, see you soon, it was like, oh, because he's death. He's like, I'm giving you the tips because I'm curious to see what's going to happen. But realistically, you're all fitting to die. Like, it won't matter. But now we learn that he's an actual character, and where his origin is. But I love that. I love that, like, how it all ties in. But I'm just like, man, these people, you were like, yeah, so here's the death rules, and here's what's going on, you know. I mean, I hope you guys make it, but honestly, I don't think you are going to. Anyway, I'm going on vacation. You're just a normal man. And I'm like, everyone else, what the hell was that? Why are you so mean?
I did like the death theory, only because it seemed like he thought these people were good enough to challenge him in a way. Being like, I'm giving you the rules of the game so that we can play. Like, it's almost like Death was bored and be like, I want to see how far you can go when you have these visions. Let's see what you can do. How well can you see the signs that I'm laying out for everybody? So I was not going to like that theory. But then I do now like that they made him a character and he was part of it all. And he's like, look, I was trying to help keep everybody alive so I could stay alive. But now it's down to you guys. And you guys don't really seem like you're doing well. So later.
I mean, y'all already down a few.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, you keep going down a lot, so we're just, yeah.
Although I will say I love like all the references. Really, almost all of them are Final Destination 2 references, which is kind of crazy because we get the log reference at the end, but also when he mentions the survivor, because that's something we've never addressed in any of the other movies. Well, Final Destination 5 is a very specific reason why they've never addressed it. But the rest of the other movies, they never talk about the main girl from Final Destination 2 or the cop, both of which were on Death's list and both of which technically get skipped, and they survive that movie. The movie ends with them alive. So they're technically the two people that beat Death and have gone on to live a very happy life, I would assume.
Well, they mentioned her once, so like one person beat it. My question is, okay, I did have this question. So let's say that going back to first destination, Final Destination, Alex is a descendant of somebody. Because actually, I think he did have a dead parent. I think he actually did have a dead
His
parent.
mom had passed away, I think.
Yes.
His mom has passed away because his dad was around.
Right. So the mom passed away. Kind of like surprisingly clicks in there. My question is it that he was part of this descendants? And the reason also it took Death so long, like almost 100 years or however, was because when those kids had premonitions, they ended up saving a bunch of people. Because it was mentioned in Final Destination 2 how those people were connected because Alex, like, oh, me and my mom we were shopping together, but I got caught up watching the news about some kid who got his head cut off at the train tracks, and my mom went to the store and she got shot by, I think, a mugger or something like that. So is it that
T.C. Carson's character, he was a substitute teacher, and the only reason he like showed up to work on a specific day was because the other teacher died in a different way than she was supposed to on the plane crash.
Yeah. So did Death also have to like take care of all those messes? He had to take care of all those messes too. He's like, God damn it. One more person has a vision. He's like, I'm just going to destroy everybody. Because then that kid had the ripple effect. So he's like, all right, I got to kill everybody and their family members. All right, down the line. Oh, shit. She had another vision. I got to kill the people she saved. I wonder if
because Final Destination 1 and 2 are connected in that way. And they're the only two that are like directly connected.
Yeah.
Final Destination 3 is just random. That just happens.
It's random.
Final Destination 4, I think, is also random. It just happens. And then Final Destination 5 is a secret. Prequel. I don't want to spoil it for somebody. Like, I guess. Well, I don't know. It's been out for a long time at this point.
It's 2011.
Yeah, it's
been
a secret
14
prequel.
Years.
It's technically the first in the timeline. It's before Final Destination 1, which is the big twist at the end. So
you know what's funny? When I watched that movie, I remember, because this is already iPhones were out, pretty much everybody had them. I remember watching that movie and wondering why everybody has flip phones. And I remember that so clearly because I was like, that's weird. Why would it? Because iPhones were everywhere already. I was like, why do they have flip phones?
Yeah, because it's subtle clues throughout the entire story. Because because 2011 was close enough to the 2000s, which I think the Final Destination 1 came out in 2001, I think.
Yeah, it had already been 10 years.
2000.
So it was close enough to the 2000s that a lot of that technology is still used. So they could kind of fool you into thinking like, oh, they're just using old technology for some reason. And then the ending of the movie happens and it's like, oh, no, they're not using old technology just because they're back in the past. It's 2000.
Yeah. It was enough. Yeah, it was enough subtle hints where I remember being like, oh, iPhones are so popular, this one person would have them. Nobody did. And then a lot of those like little like just details where I was like, this is very old school, but that's okay. I mean, that's fine.
So hypothetically, the implication is that Final Destination 2 was the only like subversion that Death had to take care of, but the rest of them were just always on the plan. They were always on the list, based off of this timeline that is being set in this movie, of being like, yeah, no, these people need to get cleaned up. But Final Destination 2 was like, oh hell no, I'm not doing this again. Y'all dying too. Y'all ain't gonna make another branching timeline of problems for me. I'm cleaning up one timeline already. I can't be cleaning up two. No.
That's what
and then when Kimberly survived, he was like, screw it, I guess. Y'all can live, fine. But somebody's dying. And so that's why he blew up that kid with the barbecue. Just to illustrate a point.
That's gotta show.
I mean, I do like the idea that he's like, look, it's scary, these like initial deaths, but they happen fast. Okay, it could have been instant, But no, you just had to be uppity about it and have a premonition and freak out and save all these people. So now I'm going to take my time, make it all slow and drawn out, and then you're going to die real slow, painful death.
I just want to point out, apparently, so the lady who gets set on fire at the beginning, the older woman who's running, apparently 71-year-old stunt woman Yvette Ferguson came out of retirement for this fire stunt, which director Lipovsky believes to be a world record for the oldest person set on fire on camera.
That's cool. First of all, good
impressive.
for her.
Yeah,
she can still do it, man. Because fire stunts are not easy. They're very difficult. There's a lot of planning that goes into them. It's a very meticulous process. I haven't done the fire stunt, but I've only been on one set where we did a fire stunt, and that took forever. It took hours to do that, and the shot was only all of maybe 5 seconds that we actually used in the final product. But it's a lot.
When they set them on fire, you have a certain amount of time before I think they're putting spray on them that's flammable.
You put gel.
That's supposed to just burn the gel, but not everything else. But you still have a finite time because it can catch on fire to anything. Fire is not predictable. It is not.
And you can't even breathe. You're supposed to hold your breath because if you breathe, it the fire, of course, goes into your lungs, and then because it follows the oxygen, burns your lungs up. So you have to hold your breath the entire time, which is why overall body fire stunts are even harder than just your hand or something.
Yeah, and also it's a chemical fire. It's not a regular fire. They wouldn't be able to put you out with water. You have to be put out with a certain type of fire extinguisher. So it's also a certain chemical getting into your mouth and lungs that causes this issue. So impressive to do it at 71. That is just amazing. She is fearless.
Hey, listen, she lives on the edge. I dig it.
Well, but died in the movie. So.
I mean,
technically she survived, but eventually died. Yes.
Right.
Yes,
right.
But I will say also the thing too about this this movie in regards to actors is I really appreciate everyone's dedication to some of the stunt work. In regards to not only the stunt actors but also the main actors too, because I'm sure they don't, even if they don't necessarily do the stunts, they have to do the setup to help set it up and make it look realistic, and everyone did a great job in that regard. And so and then the stunt performers of course did an amazing job. I'm sure the stunt performer for Richard Harmon was working his ass off because we get the stunt work in the tattoo parlor. And then we get the stunt, and that's if he didn't do it himself. Because there's a lot of shots where I'm like, I honestly can't tell if it's you or if it's a stunt performer because y'all look so damn alike. If there is a stunt,
because he was the one he was probably the person in the movie who had the most brushes with death.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of action in that sense.
And also, kudos to him. Also, just props for being the one to hold down the comedy of the whole movie, really, because he's the funniest character in the movie, and the second he's gone, all the jokes stop. The second he dies, the jokes just cut off, and I'm like, nah. It's the whole time I was like, well, it's a shame he died, because when they were like, oh, he's safe because he's not in the bloodline, I'm like, okay, cool, we get this character the whole movie, that's fantastic. And then when he died, I was like, oh, well, never mind. I was looking forward to more jokes with this character because they do a great job with his character, especially being that his character could easily have been the asshole character of the movie. And while he is he takes nothing seriously, he does definitely push that line of being older brother jerk character. You can see the nuance in his character that he does love his family. And he does love his brother. He loves his cousins. He has a lot of love in him. He just also likes to play around too damn much. Yeah. But he's not an asshole. He's just a little he likes to bully every now and again. And there's a difference between the two. Well,
what I mean is but he loves his brother. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. No, because there's a moment where how they cause the anaphylactic shock for Bobby. He tries to prevent it throughout a couple scenes where the mom comes back holding a plate and she's like, "It's peanut butter cookies," and that he's like, "That's gonna kill him. You are gonna kill Bobby." And then the scene where they're all loading up into the trailer, he's the only one who remembered she made peanut butter cookies. So he stops everybody. He's like, "Did you all forget? You're trying to keep him alive, but you already forget that there's peanut butter in that truck. One touch." Or RV. So he's also the only one that seems to, when protecting Bobby, is not just looking out for like, oh, something is going to fall on him, this and that. He's also in a way thinking logically. He's like, look, there's also these things that are trying to kill him, the everyday sort of thing we need to protect him from, and he realizes that he has to come with if he wants his brother to actually be safe, which is a sweet gesture. Even though right before they get into the RV, he punches him in the nuts.
Yeah, and that's a brother thing to do.
And right before that, he finds out that he's not his father's child.
Yeah.
His father who just died.
Which is so funny. But even then, like, even in the tattoo parlor, like, he turns off his metal music to play a song that reminds him of, that, like, so he can reminisce on his dad, and he tattoos his dad on his arm. And he, like, no one told him to do that. He didn't have to do that. He does it unprovoked because he loves his dad, and he misses his dad, and he cries about it. Like, it's a sweet thing. So he's like, he's a character who has jerk-like tendencies, but also has a lot of nuance to him because you can see the humanity in his character and who he is as a person.
Which the people in these movies, they certainly do bounce back fast from witnessing probably the most traumatic event in their entire life.
It's because in their mind, they're thinking about, well, if you died like that, well, damn, what's finna happen to me? That was the most messed up thing I've ever seen. Like, is that gonna happen to me? Am I getting something equivalent to that?
What's the so I understand how this sounds, but if you guys were to die a traumatic death, what is the way you want to go?
Bear attack.
And I understand normal people don't think like that often. Bear attack.
Bear attack. Because at least then it could be like first of all, I'm nourishing a bear, so take care of the animals. Secondly, like at least it would be a crazy story. I could like say I fought a bear. I lost, but when I get to heaven, I could be like, look, I'm just saying, I'm going to the halls of Valhalla right now. All right, I died in combat.
I don't think you can actively fight a bear. I think once it gets you, it gets you.
Yeah, that's true. But listen, I'm gonna still put up some type of fight. I'm gonna be using what's left of my limbs to try and fight back.
What about you, Jonathan? What about a traumatic death?
I'll say, and I'm not claiming this, okay? All the knock on wood. I have put that out there. I do not claim this negative energy. I see people in the TikTok comments under like one of those like videos, those animations that talk about like some like scary true crime event that happened, and they're like, Lord, please protect and save us. We do not claim this negative energy. That's me. But I would have to say I'm performing, whether it's like a concert or like, I don't know, some sort of performance, and one part of the stage just collapses and falls. Do you remember that one event, maybe like, I don't know, probably like 10 or less years ago at this point? It was at like a county fair, and you know how they do concerts at like Puyallup and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was at a concert, and I guess it was windy. I think it was Chicago or something, and it was super windy. But they let the performance still go on. The stage literally collapsed, and I think like 20 people died. Let me look it up while Alex, you talk about.
Like makes me think of like because like I thought you were gonna mention like Astro World.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
the whole Astro World controversy with Travis Scott and everything.
Yeah, but he lived.
That happened too. That would be scary.
Well, did the stage collapse? No, the railing collapsed, didn't it?
No, they well, I think
for Astro World.
Yeah, was it?
I know people got trampled.
Yeah, I think it was the railing to the stage wasn't secure enough, and because during concerts, I wish they wouldn't push aggressively with each other.
Well, that happened at Bumbershoot too here in
I think that's what I'm thinking of. Is Bumbershoot I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Astro World. I think something collapsed with Astro World. Definitely.
Astro World, it was like a trampoline, and like some people got really badly hurt, and they were trying to get an ambulance through, but Travis Scott either didn't pay attention or chose not to. didn't stop the show, so nobody could so people weren't making room for them to get to these people.
Yeah.
Okay, I found the Wikipedia article. It was Indiana. The Indiana State Fair stage collapse. An incident during an August 13th, 2011 outdoor concert by Sugarland as part of their Incredible Machine tour at the Indiana State Fair, in which a wind gust from an approaching severe thunderstorm hit the stage's temporary roof structure, causing it to collapse. The structure landed among a crowd of spectators, killing 7 people and injuring 58 others.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the video of it being like, oh my gosh. I didn't realize it was that long ago.
For your traumatic death, you want to take other people out with you, huh?
No.
You're like, the stage collapses. I'm taking out the front people sitting in the crowd.
I'm not taking this L by myself. Y'all taking this L with me.
We all going down. We going down. We go
but
down.
I'm the one on stage. I'm the one that's my final moments are in glory. Again, I do not claim this. Okay, I do not claim this.
At least I chose to go on by myself. It's me and the bear, and the bear's winning. But at least it's just me and him, or her.
You don't
whichever
know.
bear it is.
You don't know. You could because the bear could choke on you or something. So that means you're taking the bear out too.
Yeah.
At least then it's a one-on-one affair. All right, you kill me. It's only fair that you die too. I hope I'm not nutritious. I hope you gain weight off of me. All right, I hope you get heart disease or something. Swallowing pieces of me.
Okay, Alex, what if I said a stage light fell on me?
It's your traumatic death.
Yeah, but y'all are criticizing it. So what if I said?
I criticized the bear too. I thought the bear was kind of boring for Jerome. I thought you come up with the more creative.
You said traumatic death, and that means traumatic to me. I you know how much of how scared I'm gonna be when that damn bear's charging at me, coming bring your ass here, boy.
Okay, Alex,
it'd be more
yours
Final
so
Destination.
We can judge it. Alex, say yours so we can judge it.
Well, mine's actually a big fear of mine. It's getting going off a bridge collapsing while in my car, and going underwater in my car.
Okay, so you also taking people out with you at the bridge collapsing. That means you aren't the only one. There's also people on the road.
Yeah, if I'm going down, everybody's coming down with me. I have always said that.
Have you seen those videos? Did you see that video of the mom freaking out while she's driving over, I think the Bay Bridge or one of those really
long bridges? Yeah, no, it's she's fine. All of a sudden she starts panicking.
She's fine, and then she's like, oh my gosh, oh my god, I can't see, no, I can't breathe, and then the kids are in the car being like, Mom, no, what are you doing, Mom?
Yeah, it's 2 teenagers. One of them was just like, I wanted just to catch a pretty view of the Bay Bridge. And I learned that they also have car services, apparently. So many people freak out over that bridge. And that they have people that just drive you over the bridge.
That's fair. I mean, I have seen that video in which that damn windstorm came through and the bridge looked like it was doing the damn wave real quick.
Oh, yeah.
With cars on it. And mind you, the bridge didn't destroy itself, but it's still the fact of I don't want to be driving ah!
Well, that's why the West Seattle Bridge, they closed it for repairs for a year or however long, because it was overdue for repairs, and it could have collapsed at any moment.
Damn bridge looked like it was winding up for a Soul Train line, getting ready to get its groove on.
There was one time I was driving over I-90, the bridge to Bellevue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was a really bad windstorm, or it was getting windy and the storm was coming. I could feel my Beetle move. Because I'm just in the middle of the water. And all of a sudden I'm like, my car's tiny compared to a lot of these cars on the road. That wind could just take me. Could push me off, I roll and go off.
A car lift off the ground on driving on a high altitude bridge where the wind was really kicking, and it was a light car. So going over that hill, I was going a little fast. I felt the car start to take off. It's only that the weight was enough that it brought it back to the ground. I'm like, I almost died. There's a possibility this car can fly off this damn bridge right now.
See? That's always been a big fear of mine. I'm always if I ever go through a bridge, my window's down, so I can kind of quick escape. I have so many escape routes.
What was the bridge in Seattle that collapsed? The
There's a bridge in Seattle that collapsed. Don't tell
yeah,
me that.
like a long
I
time
know
ago
I've
though.
heard of it, but I
I
don't
still
know
don't like
which
it.
ones.
Don't tell me that. What bridge?
Here,
If
let's
you
see.
say the Ballard Bridge at all, there's any
Tacoma
issues.
Narrows Bridge
Okay.
in 1940. It collapsed. Wait,
I
no,
guess.
it opened in 1940. When did it collapse? Collapse. Oh, it collapsed in 1940.
Okay. No, I still don't
Also,
like it.
real quick, coming back to the movie, can we talk about that singer though? Who, like both of the singers in the Skyview, they was killing it. Homegirl was killing it, singing her song, and then when that man came in with them Temptations, you know you make me wanna shout, hit my hands up and shout, look my
Yeah,
hands
but he
up.
caused the glass
I
to
was
break.
like,
Yeah.
maybe, but listen, they died
He
jamming.
made them
Okay,
vibe too
they
much. He
died.
made them vibe too much.
Yeah, I mean, he had them. He had that crowd right. Like, a little bit softer now.
And
a
if
little bit
anything,
softer now.
he should
So
have been
good.
if anything, he should have been the first person to see the daggone cracks in the glass. He had a full view of
That
the
is
whole
true.
entire
That's
Now
true.
that is true. He wanted them white people to die because it was the 50s. He was like, "Look, goddamn it, this is for Dr. King. I mean, he isn't dead yet, but he will be. And when he before he goes,
I
That's
have
why when
been
the girl
hearing-
came out.
go
Sorry,
ahead, go ahead, sorry. No, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say
that white
that's
girl
why
came
when-
on that stage. She ruined his plans.
Yeah, he was like, "What are you doing?"
He tried to kill a group of white people with the funk. Well,
Reparations.
that's right. They didn't pay him no way anyway. I'm sure they were like, "That's right, boy, go on up there and sing them damn Temptation songs that we like so much." Like, hashtag
Sorry, Alex,
Sinners.
go ahead.
Watch Sinners.
No, I was just going to be saying I've been hearing that song everywhere now. Everywhere. Somebody's singing shot, and I keep hearing it in my head. So like that song's like now everything everywhere. I went out kind of dancing to like a 70s night. It was like ABBA and Fleetwood Mac and stuff like that for my sister-in-law's birthday. And I swear I kept looking at the ground. This was in like some random bar in Seattle, but my ass kept looking at the ground. I'm like, is there something I'm not seeing now? So that also now made me very aware where if I go out dancing to keep looking at the ground where I'm dancing. I'm like, is it safe? Is something gonna crack? Even though I'm like on cement.
Although I will say, that like a piece of me, if this wasn't a Final Destination movie, a piece of me wants to watch the Lifetime movie that was the beginning of this film. Because they were such a sweet couple, Iris and Paul. I was like, especially
Yeah.
when
That's
she's
the
like,
prequel, Iris and Paul.
when she's like, I'm pregnant, and he's like, oh hell yeah, it's double good news. I was like, man, you out here look at you being a good man and shit. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, but it's the 50s. Now people are going to have to do the math.
I mean, yeah, that's true, maybe. But to be fair, they look like they're the same age. So they probably like, the kid probably was like, when they both were like 17 or something. I don't know.
No, they look like they're adults.
Well, they are adults,
I mean,
but I'm
I mean
saying-
the fact that people are going to be like, "Oh, did you only wipe her up because you put one in her?"
That's why you lie and say you've been married for 16 years when the kid is 15 years old.
There you go.
That's all you gotta do. There's the wedding photos.
But
Why does moms
just
keep standing in front of big floral arrangements? Don't ask why.
But I like, it was a really sweet scene. Every scene with them in the beginning. If it wasn't ominous because of the music and stuff, this would be a very sweet movie of this dude who took his girl to a restaurant he couldn't afford with a reservation he did not have. Well, maybe it may have had, but regardless, he has an asshole hostess, or host in the front who won't let him do the reservation. And then they gets her some champagne. They go up to the top. He proposes. They got a kid on the way. It was a very sweet scene. I was like, man, it's why it was a shame when, like, in the future he's not there anymore. He died. I'm like, oh man, Paul was cool though. Grandpa Paul would have been great. He's awesome.
Well, Grandpa Paul was the only one holding down Iris's mental state because after he died, that's when she went
Yeah,
cuckoo.
it's
Like,
true. That's
everybody's
when she
gonna
went crazy.
die.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we need to calm her down.
Yeah.
But
Well,
overall, that's Final Destination. Grades. What do you guys think of this movie? Alex, starting with you.
Okay. I give this movie a B. It wasn't hiding what what it was going to be. It's a Final Destination movie. It didn't try to make it deep. It didn't try to like be more than it was. I liked the penny. Like everybody's suspicious of pennies now, and you always wonder what Final Destination kill is gonna like affect a generation or be that one death thing or that one common thing where you're constantly being like bringing it up, like the logs. And for me, I think it was Final Destination 5, the guy who was getting acupuncture and fell off the table. I won't get acupuncture again. I just can't now that I've
See,
seen
for
that
me,
movie.
in that movie, it's the laser eye surgery. I was like, I don't need LASIK. I will gladly wear glasses for the rest of my life instead of
You
having a
barely wear your
possibility of that shit happening.
glasses.
I don't need them when I'm in the house. All right, I'm nearsighted, but I do need them to drive.
What about the roller coaster?
I
I mean, like
roller coasters are what they are, man. You're gonna die on
Yeah.
one. It's
Like,
it's a higher
What?
possibility.
You have a high possibility of dying on roller coasters all the time. Right?
Yeah, those things
that
are
ain't never gonna
not built
change.
structurally right or are on the ground.
They were always
Probably.
death traps.
Yeah,
we just
like
accept
that.
it because they're fun.
Y'all don't
I
love
do.
roller coasters?
No, I like a roller coaster, but I would accept if I die on a roller coaster. That was my own fault. I willingly went on this structure that shakes as cars are moving full speed around it with multiple people.
Using nothing but inertia. No type of
Yeah.
thing locking it down to the track. No type of engine to at least make sure that if there isn't enough inertia, it'll keep you going anyway.
Yeah, it is.
You are fully at the mercy of gravity.
And think about it, even when it stops those brakes, you like jerk really hard because it doesn't have even
I think
proper
the
braking system.
percentage of people who have died on roller coasters versus the amount of people who have gone on a roller coaster is extremely low. Right?
Yeah, probably. I don't know statistics about roller coasters. But anyway, a B because like this movie was fun. And I had fun. It was nostalgic, and I look at pennies differently now, and I can't get the song "Shout" out of my head. And yeah, just to have fun with it. Sometimes that's all you need in a movie. What about you, Jonathan?
I say I would give this movie a B plus. I had such a fun time watching it, and there were some of the little things that we talked about that didn't maybe make the most sense. Like why was the family drinking the drinks like fish?
Yeah, I'll give
Because
you-
they were trying to get their drink on. Okay,
Well,
that's
that was
why.
water.
I know it looked like water.
Well, they had their drink on earlier, and now
It
they're
was
trying
thirsty, it
to
was
try to
hot.
hydrate. Yeah, it's hot outside. Also, no, it was like soda or something.
Oh, I also did like the fake out in the trailer. I only watched like the first part of the trailer when it would come across my feed. I never watched the full trailer, but I thought that one of the deaths would be on the trampoline when someone was like one of the kids was bouncing on the trampoline.
Oh yeah, those are
You had the
dangerous
rake
as hell.
underneath or the hoe underneath or whatever.
There's a rake.
I thought that was going to be one of the deaths, but that was another bait and switch. But overall, I just had such a fun time watching it in IMAX. Is this the first Final Destination movie to be released in IMAX? Probably.
No, they've released a few in IMAX.
They released
before. This might be
definitely
one of the
the
few that's
fourth
filmed
one.
specifically for IMAX.
For IMAX.
Yeah. They definitely released the fourth one in IMAX and for 3D usage.
Yeah, and the fifth one for sure. I'm sure it was
Mm.
filmed for IMAX or filmed, or made in like to fit the aspect ratio of IMAX.
But it's nice to have a modern Final Destination movie, and I feel like some of the, people who are because people who were born in 2011 when the last one came out are like in their teens now, so they get to experience the horror and the trauma that comes with these movies. So now they're traumatizing whole new generations.
Well, what's funny is that's the new it thing, because I remember when I was a kid and
Traumatizing your children?
No, when like the on the internet the reaction channels are being born. At first, it was reacting to essentially the internet. Then it became reacting to like video games and things, and now the new hot thing is reacting to old movies from the 2000s to the 90s to the 80s, whatever, for the new generations, because for a lot of them they have not watched these movies, even though they're like pop culture staples, right? So, and because a lot of what we get now is prequels and sequels, So a lot of the younger generation are like, I want to watch the original, and I want to
Yeah.
see what the hype was about and how it compares to like the version that I have now as an adult or as a teenager. So that is kind of the new hotness. Is like, I'm sure there's a lot of teens that are just now watching Final Destination 2 being like, is this what my mom was talking about? What the hell? I'm never going to drive behind a long truck. Is this why you don't drive behind long trucks, Mom?
Jerome, how about your rating and review?
I'm giving this giving it a B minus. And like only because, and honestly, because a lot of the selling, like, because at first I was going to give this a C plus, but it bumps up because of fun factor. Because I did have a lot of fun watching this film. I think it knows exactly what it is. It doesn't try to be anything more than that. It's just some of the plot lines that I feel like don't need to be in this movie because they kind of just drag, or they just like make me not give a shit about our main characters. And the CG is rough in places. And I treat this the same way I do Black Panther, in which I'm like, I love that movie, but there's so much of the damn CG that I don't like. I gotta take points off. And it's the same thing with this movie, where like, if this movie didn't have so much CG, I'd be able to look past it. But because especially every death is CG filled, and a lot of the scenes are very CG oriented. As far as like the big bombastic scenes, like hell, the opening of this movie is like a CG fest for a large part of it. So, like by that measure, got to take some points off. But for the most part, though, if you're a Final Destination fan, this movie's right up your alley. It definitely is one of the better ones. I put it up there as one of my top 3 because right now it's like it goes Final Destination 2, then 5, now like this one. I really enjoy this movie. I think it's really solid. It has great characters. All the actors do a great job. I think Richard Harmon alone buys this movie points for me because he's just so funny. He's probably one of my favorite characters that's been in the Final Destination franchise in a while.
Oh, definitely.
So it's good. It's overall good. Also, real quick, looked it up. Apparently, percentage of roller coaster deaths in total is incredibly low. They say that estimates suggest the odds of dying on a roller coaster ride are roughly 1 in 750 million.
See,
so
I told y'all.
I don't believe it. I think they hide it. I think they just remove the bodies from the roller coaster, or just be like, hide the carts and be like, oh, down for construction. a lot of roller coasters you see are like, oh, we can't bring it out today. Maybe there's a reason.
But
I love,
yeah. Also, like thinking of the reaction trend I was talking about, my favorite thing I'm liking is seeing Christian people watch Lord of the Rings for the first time. It's been so much fun to see them reacting and be like, "Get him, Gandalf! I know that's right. Get him!" But that's Final Destination and Sinners for you as well. Got them done.
We got a 2
reviews.
for 1 today.
Yeah. Like,
a horror movie fest.
Comment below. Tell us what you think about Sinners, and also comment below. Tell us what you think about Final Destination Bloodlines. Have you seen both movies? Did you like them? Did you hate them? Are you looking forward to seeing them if you haven't already seen them? Or are you not seeing them? Because it is horror movies. So, maybe they're not up your alley, which is fine. That's okay. Everybody has their things. Comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you're thinking. And before we go, as we do with every episode, socials. Jonathan, where can people find you?
Yes, you can find me at Jonathan Keys on X, Instagram, wherever you please. You can follow us at The First Ones to Die everywhere. You can email us thefirstones2die@gmail.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, please go ahead and like and subscribe. If you're listening to us on your podcast listening platform, go ahead and give us a 5-star rating and review. We would greatly appreciate it so much. Also, I saw, speaking of Sinners and like people not liking horror and maybe they didn't watch because of that, I saw a video of a girl walking out of Sinners. She's like, nope, I just got my refund for watching Sinners because y'all specifically told me it was not scary. I saw that boy walk into that church and I said, nope, I am leaving.
No, what's funny, this is the only spoiler I will give for Sinners, and this mild spoilers. he like, because it's at the very beginning of the movie. He walks to that church looking all jacked up, scar across the face and everything, and his daddy is like, "Yes, son, go ahead and like look at our son. Go ahead and put the guitar down." No, holy shit, what happened to you? You alright? Are you good? Where you been at? None of that. No, not a single lick of concern for his safety, considering the last time you saw him, he had none of these scars, fully clothed, and had a fully whole guitar, not just the damn neck of it.
He was also
No type
drenched
of
in
concern.
blood. Like, he had a lot
Right.
of blood on him, and that's not yours.
Like, no type of questions, no type of like, let's go, like, church is canceled. Take him to the hospital. We gotta go.
Everybody's just sitting there.
It's like, no, your daddy don't care about you. He can't possibly.
But that's that. Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me at Alex and Nobody on Instagram and on TikTok, as well as the podcast TikTok, the First Ones to Die, where I post little clips of videos we've done, ideas we're doing, and just me when I watch random films and like to put questions out into the universe. And now Blue Sky, where I will probably be, what do we say, tweeting? Skying? My thoughts?
Blew it.
Who knows at this point?
I don't like the phrase bluing. But I will be there too. Come and join me over there. What about you, Jerome? Well, actually, really quick, sorry. I have also been trying to read more. I've got some lovely book recommendations from my coworkers. Recently, one just handed me Butcher and Blackbird. But if you guys have any suggestions for books that are good to read, I'm trying to get back into that. I've been reading a lot lately, which is nice. Love to hear suggestions and things like that from you guys. Sorry. Go ahead, Jerome.
You can find me at Not Jerome Rhett on Instagram, and also check out the YouTube channel for extra content that you cannot get on the audio streaming platform. We're really trying to big up YouTube this year. That's the plan anyway. And so there's going to be stuff coming up there. In fact, right now, this week, I'm up reviewing my Thunderbolts review. So that's going to be coming up soon as a mini review that's going to be on the YouTube channel. But there's other mini reviews up there for you to check out. There's book reviews, there's gaming content, there's vlogs and things, other things that we've done, and video versions of all of the podcasts. So if you want to see our lovely faces, you can check it out there as well. So go on over to the YouTube channel at The First Ones to Die and subscribe, like, share, favorite, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And if you're already on the YouTube channel, thank you so much. We appreciate you stopping on by. And if you've made it to this far in the video, we really appreciate you watching the whole thing. That's awesome. But other than that, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Next week, retro review in preparation for the new and hopefully final Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise. We're reviewing Mission Impossible 1, the first movie starring one Tom Cruise, Jon Voight. It's a great time. We're going to watch it, tell you what we think. And if you want to hear more from us going forward, tune on back into the First Ones to Die podcast. But until then, have a great night, good morning, good evening, whenever you're listening to this, and we'll catch you for the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Go on over to the YouTube channel at The First Ones to Die to see all the fun stuff we got going on here, like mini reviews, book reviews, gaming videos, vlogs, all types of stuff.
Please follow us at The First Ones to Die everywhere. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. You want to hear cracking?
It's just the fact that you want to hear. Sorry, go ahead.
Wait, listen. Alex, I think I've done this for you before. Wait.
Is that your
Can you
ankle
hear
or
that?
Oh,
your
yeah.
knee?
Oh, yeah.
That's
I was like,
me.
you should get that checked out, man.
You should get that checked out.